Next man up here on 102.5 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game National Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Hi, everyone. No, I am not Jake Lyman. He's a lot better than I am. But he is off in Blacksburg. As you hear the song, ironically, this is his Hokies. He's off in Blacksburg, getting set for Vanderbilt and Virginia Tech. I'm Connor Newt, and Nick Frazier, of course, alongside me. This is just like old times, man.
Just like old times.
You and me. Lyman leaves us, so it's just you and me. Just like old times. Happy to be here with you.
Thank you. It's going to be a fun show today. I'm excited. Football is back, full swing, and now we have college football to look forward to tomorrow. And then, there's a little bit of some NFL stuff tonight. Got, Chargers and Chiefs in Brazil. I don't know if you saw Travis Kelce recently. They were doing a little press conference, and he
impersonated Patrick Mahomes.
I thought it was pretty fun. Almost spot on, to be honest with you.
Well, it's because Mahomes told reporters that Kelce doesn't know where Brazil is on a map. So he had it coming.
Yeah.
I side with Kelce. But that game last night, fun one. Right from the jump. I was telling our producer, Parker Kelly, before I got in here, I was like, as soon as that lightning delay hit, I knew that was going to be the final score.
Yeah.
24-20. Because what that does is it takes all the momentum out of the game. That literally the last play before the lightning delay was a fumble recovery by the Eagles defense. And the final score ended up being 24-20. CeeDee Lamb, some crucial drops in that one.
Yeah, I don't know if you can put all of it on CeeDee Lamb, but I honestly look at the Eagles as that good of a team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, anything that they did, it was like unstoppable. I do want to get your thoughts. I know this has been like the big topic of conversation, but Jalen Carter at the beginning of the game, 6 seconds in, like there was two camera angles are showing right now on the TV. Dak spit first into the ground, and then Jalen Carter walked up and spit into his face. Like, would you have, I guess, suspended him from the game or just ejected him from the game for doing that?
I would have tossed him from the game, and I would suspend him for the next game.
Really?
That's what I'm going to do.
Wow.
Because I'll tell you why. Dak spit first. He didn't get caught.
Right.
The second guy got caught. It's always the second guy who gets caught. So, unfortunately, someone's got to pay the price. Dak wasn't flagged. Dak wasn't, hit with punishment. Jalen Carter was before he even saw a down in the game. So, don't get caught.
It's true.
I understand it's a rivalry game and things like this happen and tensions broil over. And I love it because that makes a great football game. It was a good game last night. There were some scuffles that went on. But if I'm Jalen Carter, be silent with it.
Yeah.
Don't be excessive because we all saw you spit on him and it was a mass amount of spit, kind of a disgusting amount of spit. I am curious how much spit was actually in his mouth, but we all saw you. Yeah. We didn't see Dak until later on, like after the lightning delay later on. So don't get caught. That's my advice to Jalen Carter.
Yeah. I think another big takeaway from that game, we talked about CeeDee Lamb with the drops. I think Dallas's run game was pretty solid for the most part. It looked like they haven't missed a beat since last season. Obviously having a new running back in Javonte Williams back there. And,
who was on my bench, by the way.
Oh, no. He probably, dropped a 20 burger for you?
Yeah. Yikes. Well, we're on A.J. Brown hate watch right now. 1 catch for 8 yards.
I knew he wasn't going to get many targets. It just he had that hamstring he was, revamping from the preseason. And obviously, didn't get that many targets and only, 8 yards you said? Mm-hmm. So, unfortunate. But I just thought Dallas's run game was pretty solid last night.
Now, Saquon Barkley is not human.
No.
I mean, there was that one play where he was a bit overthrown on a check down, grabs it, does a spin move, stiff arms the guy to the ground, and still manages to get the first down. I mean, he's the best running back in the league, and it's not close.
Yeah, people that think he's going to have a regressed year, no, that's not happening.
No.
He might just take it up another level.
Now, a lot of people make the argument that offense runs through Saquon Barkley. I would say Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Because you watched Jalen Hurts last night, and it was, oh, you guys are in man, no one's open. I'm just going to take off running and gain 20 yards. So I put out a tweet last night. I got a lot of interaction, actually. Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFC.
Ooh.
Now, the argument from most people has been, well, what about Jaden Daniels? Jaden Daniels is a very, very talented quarterback.
Yeah.
The thing with Jaden Daniels is, like CJ Stroud, I need to see it again. If he does it again, then we can start talking about it. But as always, the sophomore slump will come into, effect at some point. I don't think he's going to have a major regression like CJ Stroud did last year, but I could totally see a world where he doesn't have the kind of season he did last year to that effect. It seems inevitable to me.
What about Jared Goff? He's in the NFC.
Yeah, Jared Goff to me is the ultimate game manager. Like
Okay.
He is the new Kirk Cousins.
That's fair.
You put him in the right system, he's going to give you the right results. And look at the system around Jared Goff. He's got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's probably a top 5 receiver in the NFL. You've got Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Yeah.
Jameson Williams,
who's coming on, and
Isaac Tesla. I mean,
I love Isaac Tesla.
Yeah, he's gonna be pretty solid. I don't know. I look at. I had this conversation last night with a buddy of mine who's an Eagles fan, and I look at Jalen Hurts as a really good game manager. I mean, yeah, he's a good quarterback. I just look at him as a good game manager. I think Jared Goff's better than Jalen Hurts in some aspects. Sure, Jared Goff may not be able to use his legs as good as Jalen Hurts, but I think Goff is a lot better in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think Jalen Hurts fits the system. I mean, the Eagles have the best offensive line in football, probably, and they maximize that tush push to oblivion. I mean, you saw it last night. You saw it again on defense. They got the fumble recovery and went to the end zone and did it themselves. It was pretty funny. But he is a system quarterback. That said, I think he's an elite system quarterback. I think he's the kind of guy that with the right pieces, like he clearly does, you're destined for greatness with him. He's been to 2 Super Bowls already. He's won 1. He led the league last year in rushing touchdowns by a QB. That's not normal. And if you have the best offensive line in football, then that's probably a product of that. But even beyond his scrambling ability, you saw a couple times last night where he just hit a deep ball. There was one to Jahan Dotson that I was like, that's not a normal throw. That's an elite level throw. So I think, you could make the argument that Jaden Daniels is better, maybe Jared Goff. You could throw Jordan Love in that conversation. I honestly thought about Baker Mayfield last night.
Yeah.
Who some people are picking to win MVP. I don't get it.
I don't get that either. I mean, his division he plays in is pretty easy to win. I mean, let's be honest. It's what Atlanta, the Saints, and
you could argue that division is worse than the AFC South.
Yeah, like he's gonna have, I wouldn't say cakewalk numbers, but he's gonna have I'd say an easy time statting pats, patting stats,
statting pads,
whatever, back and forth and stadium polls. But no,
it happens.
I just think, Baker Mayfield's a good quarterback, but yet I think you look at Jaden Daniels and people saying, "Oh, what about Jaden Daniels?" I think he has a higher ceiling.
Yeah, no, but 1,000%.
I think Jalen Hurts is there already in the prime, and he's just a really good game manager. I think that's what caps him off, in my opinion.
In this moment, right now, on this day, September 5th, 2025 at 9:08 a.m. I think Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the NFC.
I would have to strongly disagree.
Really?
Yeah. I just think there's a lot more, I guess, valuable quarterbacks that would be over Jalen Hurts. Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff. Go ahead.
Someone told me Matt Stafford last night, and I was like, are you serious? You got to stay healthy to be considered in that conversation.
Yeah. I don't know. I understand the whole back situation. I'm kind of putting Stafford's legacy into all this because he's won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's been with the terrible teams of Detroit.
Yeah, but he's on the wheels are falling off for him.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think you put the right guys around him, kind of like golf. You put the right guys around him, he can still be a really good quarterback. There's
like golf.
Yeah.
Explain.
Jared Goff has really good.
Oh, I thought you said golf.
I thought he was talking about golf too. I was so confused for a second.
I was
Where's he going with this?
Golf's an individual sport.
Let me pronunciate that a little bit. Jared Goff. Excuse me.
Goff.
Whatever.
Gahff.
Yeah, pronunciation. Excuse me.
You got to say it like New Yorkers.
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff.
That's more Boston, but
yeah.
What? Neither
Boston.
Jared Goff has a lot of, good assets around. We already talked about, but you look at LA. Sure, the departure of Cooper Kupp, but you still got Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Tyler Higbee, who's on the back end of things.
Yeah, but he's a serviceable tight
end. You got
end.
the Ferguson kid out of Oregon, who's a pretty young, I'd say a young tight end right out of the draft. So
yeah,
there's some young assets they could really utilize.
Known guest of Talking with TD.
Oh,
really? Trey Ferguson.
How about that?
I think Parker
I wonder.
did that
Yeah, I
interview,
wonder
right?
who interviewed him.
Yeah,
Oh,
probably that guy sitting behind the glass.
that's pretty cool.
Sounds like a good interview. Oh, there's a big guy you're forgetting about on that team,
Am I?
Devontae Adams.
That's right. I forgot.
Who's
about-
not the same Devontae Adams of Green Bay in like 5 years ago. But
Yeah, but still serviceable.
yeah, he's still a solid fringe wide receiver one, wide receiver. He'll be wide receiver 2 on that team because Puka is your guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I
it's really just a testament to show you how deep the AFC quarterback is compared to the NFC quarterback room.
it's true. That's true.
There's no comparison. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. You can text or call us. Our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We got a lot to come up on this show, but there is one thing that I haven't really heard talked about on this station since it came out yesterday. So we're going to get into that next. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. essentially said, yeah, L'Jarius Sneed's going to play. He's going to be 100% on Sunday against the Broncos. We'll discuss that next. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier here on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. Tomorrow, the NTSU Blue Raiders will take on Wisconsin and jump around. This kickoff is at 3 p.m., and you can catch all the action on Totally Hits 93.3. Coverage is also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at totallyhitsnashville.com. Welcome back in. Next man up, Jake Lyman out today. So Connor Newt, myself, and Nick Frazier himself will be taking the reins for the next about 2 hours and 45 minutes. I want to get into this because it hasn't really been discussed much, and I think it's kind of flying under the radar. L'Jarius Sneed basically is good to go, according to all the players and some coaching staff. This is from TD yesterday. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. on L'Jarius Sneed. Quote, he takes one side of the field away. It's great having him here as a big brother. He's still the guy they paid a lot of money to last year. He's really just locked in, end quote. If L'Jarius Sneed is really just locked in being the best corner in the league and perfecting his craft in the game of football, don't you think he would be out there on the field all summer practicing? Now, I understand he's got this lingering injury or whatever, but don't you think once he was cleared, he would be out there, even on the practice field? There were times over the summer where he was battling this injury. He wasn't even on the field. He was absent. So I am very skeptical about this quote. It kind of drives me crazy the amount of times we're pumping L'Jarius Sneed's tires and that he's just going to go out there on Sunday and just be this lockdown corner and be a top 3 guy in the league. He hasn't practiced all year, all summer. So I don't expect anything out of him.
Yeah, I mean, I said this to Jake yesterday. I think the Titans are looking at L'Jarius Sneed's situation as like week 1 to week 3, maybe include week 4 into it, as more of a professional, air quotes, professional preseason to ramp him up to get back into football shape. Because primarily that's the missing puzzle piece to this equation is just his football shape. And that's what everybody keeps talking about. Now, to your point about the whole quote from Jarvis Brownlee Jr. saying he's still the guy they paid a lot of money for last season. I hope so.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, it's not L'Jarius Sneed. I'm being jokingly, sarcastic. But I just think it's going to take some time. And do I think it's going to be the L'Jarius Sneed of old, the lockdown corner? Absolutely not. I think we're going to see a different L'Jarius Sneed after weeks 3 and 4. Obviously, you're going to see him get on the field in certain, I guess, situational defensive, aspects. When it comes to this game in week 1, obviously he's been a limited participant this week, him and Kevin Winston Jr. So, and of course on the injury report, it says L'Jarius Sneed knee as the injury for the injury report. So being a limited participant Wednesday and Thursday, I think it's solely just to get his football shape back up and running, get that stamina up and running, and just to kind of go through walkthroughs for the most part. Take a lot of, Joe hates this, but mental reps and just a lot of, making sure you got those calculated risk under wraps.
Yeah, I mean, right now it seems like we're trending in the direction of yet another failed experiment from an all-pro level player for the Titans. I mean, you could make a whole documentary on the amount of – we could write a whole book on this.
It'd be a 30 for 30 series.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at – I get they were in the end of their careers, Randy Moss, Andre Johnson, and then you can get to the newer ones like Julio Jones and – guys like that. We could do a whole documentary on this. What I'm really getting at here is, in the grand scheme of things, it seems like every time the Titans take a risk on someone like this, whether it's an all-pro player or even just a good player, like, do you remember Eric Decker?
Oh, yeah.
Who I was very excited about when the Titans signed him. Every time they do this, it always goes wrong. And I really don't understand why, because it's not like it's the same regime making these decisions. It's been a collective of different regimes doing, like the Vrabel regime was the one that made the Julio Jones trade. Obviously, Rand Carthon was the one that made this trade, but you have, Floyd was the one that made the Randy Moss trade or Randy Moss signing, Andre Johnson, guys like that. It seems like no matter who's in charge, it always seems to go wrong when it's on this, scheme of we're going to pay a guy that's an all-pro player elsewhere, and then they'll come here and then they'll suck.
The whole Julio Jones trade, going back to that real quick, I think it was more of an A.J. Brown thing to appease him because he's always said Julio was his number one wide receiver he looked up to.
Yeah, and then they didn't pay him the next year.
Yeah, and I think it was more of a negotiating tactic. I look at that from a wide angle lens. As for this trade with L'Jarius Sneed, that was just poor management, in my opinion. But nonetheless, he's on the roster. You have to look forward. And do I think L'Jarius Sneed, like I said, is going to be the Sneed of old? Probably not. You're going to have to give it some time, unfortunately. And a lot of people are running out of patience with this Titans team because they've been bottom of the barrel the last season, obviously being the worst team in football. But if they can, Jake and I talked about season predictions. I predicted them to go 7-10. If they can go 7-10 and L'Jarius Sneed has some serviceable play, I think you can say we can actually get something out of L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be your all-pro corner of the Kansas City days. It doesn't. Like, as long as you can, I don't want to put a stat prediction out there, but if Sneed can, lock down half the field like Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is saying, then sure. I was going to put an interception prediction out there, but I'm not going to because those always pan out terribly. So, you really hope for Sneed to kind of get back to some form of his old self. And like everybody keeps talking about, stamina. Keep going out there, train hard. That's all you can do, really.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta look at this and look at your corner depth. You don't have the numbers. You got Roger McCurry and Jarvis Brownlee, who are solid starters, but if you were to put them on a competitive team, I don't know if they would make a dent in your car or whatever.
No, they'd be on the bottom part of the depth chart.
And I should correct myself as
middle of the table.
As Adam in Portland texted in on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Floyd was not the one that made the Randy Moss sighting. He was long gone.
Yeah.
It was before my time, so I apologize.
I didn't catch that. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I should think before I speak.
That's okay.
That's kind of been the story of my life. I could write a book. Think Before You Speak by Connor Newt.
Yeah.
I think that would be a bestseller.
It might be in the Newt's Book of Fandom too. It might be one of the a separate chapter in there,
which has gone platinum on Amazon ebooks. By the way,
it's pretty cool.
So thanks, guys. Yeah. I appreciate you renting out my Book of Fandom.
I do have a question though. We talked about injuries, L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah,
and we might get in this in a little bit, but you look at the Broncos injury report. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys that are still on the injury report. I mean, 3 of them were full participants yesterday, but the other 4, I don't know. 2 of them didn't practice. Dre Greenlaw, one of those being a key factor in that defense.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's the tale as old as time for the Titans. There's always injuries, no matter what.
But, I mean, that's got to bode well for Cam Ward, though.
It does? Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this game tomorrow, and we'll get more into the actual game tomorrow later on in the show, but I'm going in with the expectation that the Titans are going to lose by 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
It's not going to be pretty. But I think Cam Ward, you got to look for the positives in him, and the same can be said for the secondary. You got to look for the positives if there are any in this game. It's not going to be pretty. The Broncos, are they getting a lot of rat poisoning? I think so. But at the same time, that's a playoff team from last year. And they're a lot further down the road than you are in terms of being competitive. So I don't think this one will be pretty. That's just me. They could very easily go out there, and this is the NFL. Any team can win on any given week.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think this is going to be pretty. And I think you're going to have a lot of Twitter meltdowns. And it's going to be great. You're going to love it.
I'd say I'm on the other side of this, man. I think they can sneak away a win in week 1.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, with all these injury reports coming out with Denver, I just think it bodes well for Cam Ward. I think there's going to be some, empty gaps in the middle of the field where he can kind of exploit that Denver defense. And, maybe he can use his legs, kind of like Jalen Hurts last night.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just something I keep a half glass full mentality of. And maybe that does happen.
You know the saying, good teams win, great teams cover.
Yeah. But this team will win.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the Broncos will win and they will cover. So that makes them a great team.
I feel very confident the Titans will win week 1.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. You can text or call us on our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll continue this conversation. Plus, I want to expand this into the broader horizons. How come every time the Titans experiments on these all-pro level players go wrong? Why is it something that is always a cycle of the Titans' lifespan? That every time they cash in on a guy that they think is going to be an all-pro level player, it ends in flames. We'll get to that next. Next man up, Connor Newt, Nick Frazier here on 102.5 The Game. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game, Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you. Every time I hear this song, I think of Hard Knocks from last year, where it was not Luther Burden, the other one out of Washington.
Roma Dunze?
Roma Dunze was singing this for their rookie talent showcase, and he nailed it.
A great song.
It was terrible, but he nailed it.
This song makes me think of line dancing because they played the song when I went line dancing one time.
At a country bar?
What's the place in downtown where you go line dancing? What's the name of the place?
Wild Horse Saloon?
Nope. No, it's
now category
Luke Combs.
10.
Luke Combs knew.
Category 10.
Category 10. Yeah.
There's me just
They line dance to some weird
dating
stuff
my
out
age.
there. Like they line danced. Lyman was telling me the other day that they line danced to Where the Wild Things Are, and I'm like, I don't think you guys know.
How do you do that?
I don't think you guys know what this song's about.
Yeah, I don't think you can line into that.
That's
But
a very sad song.
it will always be Wild Horse Saloon to me.
Wild Horse Saloon. It's called Whiskey Dicks over in Murfreesboro.
Oh, okay.
Derek Mason advises all of us to go there after Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders win,
Cool.
which I don't know how many of those we're going to get this year. Anyways, every time the Titans make a big move for an all-pro guy like this, like L'Jarius Sneed, you've seen Julio Jones, Randy Moss, Andre Johnson, you name it, it always seems to not pan out. My question to you, Nick Frazier, and to all of our listeners on the text line, 615-737-1025, is why? Why is this such a trend in this organization? Skylar on our text line says, because the Titans are a bad organization. No leadership from the top down. The Ravens, Packers, and Steelers are good organizations that can sign vets to come contribute. The Titans sign vets and think it's a joke because it is. Starts with the owner. I'm interested to hear your opinion on that because I have my opinion on that, but what do you think?
Skylar's not wrong. I mean, absolutely right. I think, the management definitely has some poor decision making. I look at these signings throughout the years as ticket grabbers. I mean, I know that sounds terrible to say, but you just look at these teams and how non-productive they were. They just weren't productive. Yeah. And you go grab a guy like Randy Moss, which is just, it's a where are they now moment. Like, where did Randy Moss play?
That might be the most famous example.
Yeah. Like, you just can't. And Andre Johnson, and later in his career, signing with the Titans for like 5-6 games, or was it a year, something like that? It was just a weird situation. But all those guys they signed, it's just ticket grabs for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it's kind of perceived in a roundabout way. Like the Julio Jones situation, the Titans had pretty good ball team then. Mm-hmm. And you go grab a guy like Julio. For me, that was solely because he always struggled with the hamstring, keeping it healthy. For me, it was always, they're just going to game plan for Julio and AJ. Like, he's just going to be a game plan decoy.
Well, if they game plan for one of them, the other one will be open, right?
It never turned out that way. So that's just how I look at these signings previous years.
I think it starts at the top, like you said, like Skylar said. I think it's Amy and even Bud back then looking at it and say the Jerry Jones mentality of this will put us over the top. We get them.
Yeah.
And it never does.
Maybe 5 years before they ended their prime.
Now, to their credit, Julio Jones, I think, made sense for their timeline as far as being a competitive Super Bowl team. He was just at the end of his career. He looked really bad. But L'Jarius Sneed last year, when we were biting all the rat poison from Rand Carthon, we're going to be a competitive team this year, and then they go out and give us the result that they give us.
Yep.
You have other examples, like Randy Moss never made sense for that timeline. Andre Johnson, maybe the weirdest contract of all time, didn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's ticket grabbing. It's, this one piece is going to put us over the top. We're going to be a competitive team, and people are going to pay money to come watch us play football. I think that's what part of this is it starts at ownership, and that's honestly denial.
Yeah.
You think you're better than you actually are, and you got to face reality and realize you are a bottom feeder team right now.
And you also have to remember, this is a team currently that's playing for the new stadium. A lot of people that are, optimistic saying the Titans might win 9 to 10 games. I mean, that is half glass full and then some. Like, this team maximum is in that maybe 7 to 8 range wins. And then more than likely it'll probably be 4 to 5 in that possibility. But I just don't see them winning 10, 11 games this year and or 9. It's a stretch for me. And people have to realize that this team, it's missing a lot of things on defense.
Yes.
And I know it's kind of morphing in from those players from in the past, but up to now. But those signings way back in the past have now reflected on the modern day roster.
Mm.
And that's unfortunate because the lack of signing veteran guys that can help bolster and build a foundation for your future, that's malpractice.
Yeah, it's for sure malpractice. I think the Titans of the past, and I hope this culture is changing right now, are victims of, well, we can go out and sign our future. And that's not how you do it.
Yeah.
You draft your future. You have to draft these elite guys that you can develop yourself to become the ultimate team building. Like, you hope your guys you have now heading into the stadium are going to hit Cam Ward, J.C. Latham, Peter Skoronski, guys like that. Jeffrey Simmons you're going to have around, but you hope Tavondre Sweat fits. You hope Femi Oladejo, Kevin Winston Jr. Yeah, you hope those guys that you drafted hit because that's how you do it. Look at the Packers, for example. The Packers do not go out and sign guys that are going to change their franchise unless it is hand-wrapped and given to them, like Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
The Packers offense is pretty much all drafted. Jordan Love, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, all of these guys. Now you have
Josh Jacobs.
I knew it was Josh something. I'm bad with names.
You're
today.
good. No, yeah, they signed Josh Jacobs. I mean,
yeah.
They drafted a wide receiver for the first time in a long time with
Matthew Golden.
So
yep.
I think that's going to be a key asset for them this year. It just, you look at teams like that, and obviously you could say Chad Brinker comes from that Green Bay tree. And I talked with Jake about this yesterday. I still don't understand how his immunity is just, he's not going to be touched. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand that logic.
He's the Paul Heyman of football.
I guess so, but
he always escapes.
Yeah. And I know we'll get in this a little later, so I might tease it now, but talking about Brian Callahan possibly on the hot seat later on, that means Chad Brinker too. I'm just putting that out there.
It should.
He should be on there as well.
Yeah, because you look at all these moves that have been made and all the recent lack of success. Brinker's been tied to all of that.
Yeah.
Brinker has been around the longest and been tied to all of that. I'm not going to sit here and call for someone's job because I think that's a personal matter.
Right.
And that's not fair for me to do because if you were to put me in that situation, I wouldn't know what I was doing. I have no experience in managing an NFL team. Some people out there think that they could be plugged in as a general manager and dominate immediately because they have on paper knowledge, but that's not how it works.
Mm-mm.
I'm not going to sit here and call for Chad Brinker's job. I'm not going to sit here and call for Brian Callahan's job.
Right.
But I am going to say that if the results are not in the Titans' favor the way that they need to be, and I'm not saying they're going to go out and be a successful team this year. That's not at all what I think is the case. But if the Titans don't look like a competent football team and Cam Ward doesn't look like a competent quarterback that's developing as your number one pick, some of these pieces that Chad Brinker has sold us on that you drafted are not developing, then yeah, I think we need to have a conversation about having some changes. But as of right now, I'm not gonna go say he needs to be fired because that's not fair.
Yeah. I just think having Borgonzi in the mix now and with this draft class, and if it does pan out, then that bodes well for Chad Brinker.
Yeah.
And so that makes him keep his job a little bit longer. I mean, at some point you got to be able to cut the umbilical cord with those two. I mean,
Okay.
one of those guys is going to start, flourishing over the other. And
what a morbid way to put that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, wow.
I mean, it's all a connecting, tree there. I don't know how else to put it, umbilical cord, whatever you want to call it. Just they're all connected in some
Cut the
way.
branches.
Yeah, cut the branches, man. Trim it back. It's the fall. The leaves are falling. Cut back the branches a little bit.
It is the fall. That's why football's played in the fall.
Exactly.
Not actually, but
it's one of the factors.
Which of the guys on the Titans staff right now, front office coaching, do you think has the longest leash?
Longest leash, Borgonzi.
Aside from him, because I think that's the easy answer.
Yeah, I mean, oh boy, that is a loaded. Probably Bones Fossil.
Yeah,
I'd say Bones Fossil. I mean, you can't knock him for what he's done this past offseason. I mean, he's one of those coaches that can be very detailed when it comes to special teams. There was a sit down he had with Matt Castle and I think Bobby Bones on NFL's YouTube page. I don't quote me on a lot of this stuff, but he was talking a lot about like kickoff returns and kickoffs and how there was just different nuances about it that obviously the new kickoff format, but he said there were some, excuse me, there were some certain things in the kickoff return that you can manipulate to where it gives you an upper edge. And I just think the creativity of being a special teams coach is a big factor in today's game of the NFL, because obviously everybody knows the X's and O's of offense and defense, but everybody forgets about special teams, and especially this Titans team where special teams has been a Achilles heel for them. They haven't really had
it's always
returns,
been that
kick
way.
returns. I mean, they're starting a guy in Shamir Dike in the back of punt returns and kick returns as their main returner, who hasn't really had much returns in the NFL at all. So, I mean, he's a rookie, so he hasn't. So I just think that's something they need to, hone in on. And if Shamir Dike does pan out as a returner, that makes Bone Fossil look incredibly smart. And so then after that puts him as the longest leash guy for me.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
I think Bones Fossil is the interim head coach should Brian Callahan be fired. He's got head coaching experience. He's been in this league long enough to know how to run an NFL team from a coaching standpoint. I think he's the guy to finish out the year if Brian Callahan gets fired midway through the year.
Yeah, I'd have to agree to that.
I think that's probably the main reason he was hired. Now, I think he's a great special teams coordinator. I think he knows what he's doing. I am optimistic that he knows what he's doing in that punt return situation with Bryce Oliver and Chimere Dike. But I'm tired of seeing bad special teams on the Titans, so I think hiring him was probably the right move.
And also, too, everybody was so up in arms about James Prochet
that's
not making the roster, and now he's on practice squad.
Do you know how easy he can be elevated in that situation?
Yeah, but just think, there could have been other teams out there that could have snagged him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
if he was really that kind of player to set the world on fire in the punt return game, don't you think someone would have snatched him up by now?
And or he would have chose something else. But maybe Bones Fossil is the guy that he likes as a special teams coordinator. Maybe he likes the system that he likes to run in certain aspects of the game. So maybe that's why he stuck around with the Titans. And or two, could be on the back end of his career, which is possible. But
yeah,
just saying.
I think he will be out there. James Prochet, he's going to be elevated at some point.
Yeah.
And probably returning punts at some point. So I would not worry about the future of James Prochet on the Tennessee Titans.
Right.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. When we come back, speaking on the Titans never hitting on these all-pro receivers, let's play a little game, shall we? If the Titans were to add one current player across any team with the guarantee that he would hit and be an effective key piece on this Titans roster today, what player would you add? Something to think about.
Yeah, that's a loaded, interesting. Yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, we'll get to that next. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you on Next Man Up on 1025 The Game. Michigan takes on Oklahoma tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. in our college football game of the week on Sports Talk 830, presented by Twin Peaks Restaurants and Circus Sportsbook in Kentucky. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and the GameNashville.com. Welcome back in. Next man up, Jake Lyman out today. He is headed to Blacksburg, Virginia to watch the Hokies and the Doors, which is going to be a great game. Under the radar. Going to be a good game. So Connor Newt, myself, Nick Frazier, himself, filling in for you today. Parker Kelly, of course, behind the glass. And I've posed the question coming out of the break, and a lot of you have responded on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Again, 615-737-1025 if you have an answer. If the Titans could add any current player right now with the guarantee that they would produce results immediately, what would that player be? Let's get to your answers first before we give ours. Adam in Portland on our text line says TJ Watt. A dominant pass rusher with such a high motor would change our entire team. DK and Mount Juliet says they need a great tight end. It's a great resource for a young quarterback and an unguardable position for a special player. I fall along both of those lines, Frazier. I'm curious to see where you go here.
Yeah. But Adam in Portland took my answer. TJ Watt to me is the game record that everyone needs.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a guy that's going to produce immediately. Like I could get the whole Micah Parsons thing. He's young. He's 26. He's a really good edge rusher. I get all that. But with the whole epidural thing, I was telling Jake yesterday, like the whole epidural thing with his back, I'd be concerned. Like JJ Watt went on Pat McAfee, was it Monday or Tuesday? And they asked him about, because he had back issues as well.
Yeah.
He had an epidural in his back. And like he said, every Monday he would do like the same squatting, I guess, routine where he'd ramp up to like 375 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Or 475. And he was at like 270, 275 to do like back squats. And he said he was on like, I don't know, rep number 5 and his back gave out. And he was like crawling to the, I guess, training room. So stuff like that kind of is a little concerning, but obviously JJ Watt is a little, different. So I think TJ Watt being fully healthy, that's a guy that'd be an absolute wrecker for sure.
I'm with DK in Mount Juliet. I think a tight end would be the position I would add. I would go with the guy I was harping on the Titans to draft last year, and that's Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is proving to be a generational tight end in this National Football League, and I use the term generational not very often because I think that term is completely overblown. Mm-hmm. If anyone shows semblance of being a good player, a lot of these draft experts will come out and say he's a generational prospect. And I'm like, he's fine. Like, look at what Mel Kiper said about Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
Now Shedeur Sanders is QB3 on the Cleveland Browns, which is going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. So I would add Brock Bowers. But if I was going to add an edge rusher, why not add the guy in the news right now that I think is probably the best defensive player in football? And that's Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Michael, as Jerry calls him.
Michael Parsons. That's pretty funny. Yeah, Jerry. I don't know. I think Jerry, everybody keeps discrediting Jerry. Maybe he's going senile with this trade.
He looked like they showed him in the box last night at the Eagles game. You've seen the Shane Gillis joke about Joe Biden.
Yeah.
He moves around like a Roomba.
Yeah.
That's what he looked like.
I don't know, man. If Steven was involved with the trade, whoever was involved with this trade that made the final say saying, yes, it had to have been Jerry. I think Jerry's pretty competent, that he was like, yeah, this trade would be good for us. And I think it will be. So yesterday, Jake and I, we did our season predictions, right?
Yeah.
For the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the Cowboys, I believe, going 5-12, I believe, or 4-13. No, 5-12, because I got absolutely razzed on by the audience or saying the Vikings would go 4-13. Viking.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I would razz you too.
Yeah. We're not going to get into that. I'll tell you off the air about more.
God.
Anyways, I think the Cowboys will be around that 5-12 range this year. After what we saw last night, they could win 6-7 games. I mean, they're just middle of the pack team right now.
They scream 9-8 to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they're a little below the table on that. And with saying it, that just opens up the opportunity for Jerry to reload this Cowboys team. Yeah, they're landlocked with Dak Prescott through his whole entire deal. Because I think the way this all plays out, the last year of Dak's deal will be the go for it window year.
Yeah.
Because they'll have both of the second round picks from Green Bay, and the one in 26, the one in 27, along with I have the Cowboys being bad the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Like finishing around.
They've got picks in the artillery for a quarterback.
Yeah. So I'm thinking they either hodgepodge a few of their first round picks and trade up, and or they just keep where they're at and they have 2 first round picks in both the drafts this year and next year. And I think that's key for them, because then they'll be able, like I said, reload in 2028 and Dax last year and actually go for something. So it's doable. I think it's very doable for the Cowboys to reload. I don't think Jerry's lost it fully. Sure, he has some comments here and there that make you raise your eyebrow, like, what did he just say? But no, I think the Cowboys are going to be all right in a couple of years. I really do.
Couple more answers I want to get to. Here's one I knew would come up, and I'm glad it did, because I would be on board with it too. AJ Brown from Dave.
Dave, as much as this Titans franchise had success with AJ Brown, I'm going to have to pass on that one. I really am.
We're on AJ Brown hate watch right now because he is tanking the Connor Newt road to a championship this year in fantasy football with his 1 catch for 8-yard performance last night.
I'm just not sold on AJ Brown, especially in the Eagles offense. Like, he's just not as productive as he was with the Titans, because Ryan Tannehill was that pass thrower that everybody enjoyed here in Tennessee. But as for AJ Brown, I just wouldn't really go for him to be that. I mean, he's a difference maker for a team for sure, but I'll pass on that. He's been dealing with that hamstring thing. I don't know if, I'm putting injuries.
Reads a lot of good books, though.
Yeah, good for him. I mean, if he's a book reader, be a bookworm. That's fine with me. But no, Dave, I get where you're coming at. It would be nice to have AJ Brown back, but I'm gonna have to pass on him.
Ben says, you got to take a QB. I'll take Burrow since Mahomes is more conservative nowadays. Most position in sports to get right. I would not take a QB right now.
Yeah.
Because I think there's so much unknown with Cam Ward, and you just used a number 1 pick on him. Plus, I don't think Burrow and Mahomes would have the same level of success here that they have elsewhere, because they fit those systems so nicely. Burrow's throwing the ball to T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase is arguably the best wide receiver in football.
Yeah.
Mahomes doesn't have quite as much talent on the receiver end, but Xavier Worthy is a bright young star, and he makes other receivers look good. I don't think we have the weapons for that. Real quick on our YouTube chat, Josh says Saquon Barkley. He also says maybe Chase too. I don't know if that's in reference to Jamar Chase or Chase McCabe. I don't know how I'd feel adding Chase McCabe to the Titans roster.
Hey, you never know.
But those are some good options. Saquon Barkley would be electric to watch here.
Yeah. And also on the text line, I don't know if Jeff knows it. He goes, Micah Parsons, back trouble, ? Yeah. Micah Parsons is dealing with
he's gonna
L4, L5 sprain, I believe, which is the lower part of your spine.
He's going to have some stimmies on Sunday.
Yeah.
I think.
So you just look out for that. Yeah. I wouldn't go for Micah Parsons right now. Like, if he was fully healthy, sure. I mean, this can all be resolved. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think it's a major injury.
Yeah.
I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. I just give it time.
Yeah. Well, Ben is counteracting me. He is correct. I did say they are guaranteed to have success immediately.
Yeah.
Cam Ward won't ever be Burrow. I still, I want to see what Cam Ward has.
That's fair. I immediate success. I'm just gonna pass on AJ Brown. I know you said, like, injuries aside, immediate success, but I'm just gonna have to pass on AJ. I really am.
Yeah. Well done, Ben. You called out my BS. Good for you. Thanks for listening intently. I appreciate it.
Also, 1580 makes a great point. They need another guy like Kyle Vanden Bosch or a Danico Autry, which is kind of what a TJ Watt would be.
Yeah,
for this
I mean, that's kind of what you hope you have in Femi Oladejo, right?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is kind of, against me saying I want to see what Cam Ward has, and then I go out and say, yeah, they need to add Micah Parsons to rush the quarterback. But I think Cam Ward has more promise in the league than your edge rushers do in Femi Oladejo and Arden Key.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of where I'm at. Keep these coming. These are great. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll hit more of your players you'd like to add to the Titans to produce immediately on the other side. Also, week 2 of college football is here. There was some news yesterday that came out about the transfer portal situation in college football. We'll get to that next on the other side. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game, Jake Lyman out over in Blacksburg. Ironically, this song played in the background. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier filling in for you. Parker Kelly, of course, behind the glass. Real quick, let's tell you that later today on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, the Nashville Sounds take on Norfolk with the first pitch at 5:35 p.m. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds baseball on ESPN 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. So we were just discussing, I guess, our unofficial question of the day. I don't really want to coin that because that's Jason Big Joe's thing. By the way, they're coming up right after us at noon. If you could add one current player in the NFL to the Tennessee Titans and expect immediate results, which I did not, and I was outdone by Ben on our text line. Again, thank you, Ben. And thank you for listening. We're glad you love the show. Who would you add? Josh on our YouTube chat is mad at you, by the way, because you he said you would not add A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Josh.
I would.
I'm going to pass. I'll pass on A.J. Brown. I have nothing.
I would.
I have no ill will against A.J. Brown. I don't see. I mean, I get the whole question was immediate success. I'm just going to have to pass on him, man. I mean, I'm sorry.
I take him for the sole reason that he is better than any receiver we have right now. So
it's fair.
That'd be a good option for Cam Ward.
Even Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
If
I could say his name correctly, then yes, I'll tell you that A.J. Brown is better than Calvin Ridley.
Okay.
So there was some news yesterday that came out in the world of college football. And this is according to our friend, if I can find his name, Eric Bolin of the Sooners Wire. I guess he's an Oklahoma guy over on MSN. This is just the article I'm reading for. It was broken by the NCAA themselves. But the NCAA has voted to eliminate the spring transfer window. Quote, the NCAA FBS Oversight Committee voted Thursday to eliminate the spring transfer portal window and allow only a 10-day period in January. In the proposal, the portal would open January 2nd, 2026, one day after the college football playoff quarterfinals. The Division Administration Committee still must approve changes, though the vote is expected to take place some point later this month in September. So, to sum that up, basically you have two portal windows, right? You've got the winter one, or there's a winter one and spring. These are now combined into one. So now you just have one winter window that opens January 2nd at the start of the new year. How do you feel about this, Frazier? Is this a good change for college football, or is it kind of more of the same and the downward decline of the sport we all love?
It's a push and pull thing for me. I mean, yeah, I think overall with the way college athletics, especially college football, is changing the trajectory of how they run things.
Yeah,
it's good for the, I guess, structure, because if you have two transfer windows, obviously it gives two opportunities for players to keep moving around. I think it pacifies the eligibility for people to say, oh, you know what, after two games, I'm leaving. Or after a season, I'm leaving. Like, it just, there's less power now in the players that play in college athletics, especially college football. It gives the coaches a little bit more, I guess, dominance over their team, because once you're in the NFL, and this is what it essentially is, college football is turning into the minor leagues of the NFL. We all know that.
Yeah.
But you look at, and a lot of people use Deion Sanders as a great example of this. If Deion Sanders were to go to the NFL, nobody's really going to listen to him because everybody's getting paid the same as him. And they're like, you know what?
He said that before. I think I heard this from Joe. What could I possibly use to coach up a guy that's getting paid more than me?
Right. And there's nothing, really,
man. That's why he works so well in college.
Yeah. And then you go to college, now eliminating two opportunities and now combining it into one. Like I said, it gives more jurisdiction for a head coach to say, you know what? I can sway your opinion and sway your ideas about this program. You need to be here. This is your place. This is your home. You can do this thing. And so I think, you know, it's good for college athletics, but at the same time, it's an interesting dynamic. Obviously, like I said before, it's going to turn into a minor league for professional sports. I'm all for it. I'm going to be all in on this. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Ben on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, says, so what about the players on teams that are still playing after quarterfinals? Coaches and players got to deal with these while still playing. I think that is a problem that has been created. Let's say Ohio State and Notre Dame are playing in the semifinals. What happens when We'll use Carnell Tate, for example. Carnell Tate decides, I don't want to play at Ohio State anymore, hits the portal immediately, and is out against Notre Dame in the semifinals.
I think that's when it comes to, again, this is all up in the air, but a lot of these guys that, sign these NIL deals with schools, or, now that players are going to get paid through the college, they're doing that little $20 million salary cap and it builds up year by year.
Mm-hmm.
I think there needs to be a stipulation in there if you're a marquee player, or there needs to be some sort of negotiating tactic with the university and the player to kind of say, hey, you got to finish out XYZ season. You can't leave at the end of that. But I mean, again, that's all a negotiating thing. If a player declines that and says, hey, I'm going to leave, or I feel like I need to leave at the end of XYZ season, but yet we still have 2 or 3 playoff games and I want to leave, then go for it. That's them. But I think there needs to be some form of a stipulation in there if there are contracts in college sports.
No, that's where I was going.
Happen.
That's where I was going. It should be like the NFL, where players will come out and say, at the end of my contract, I will not be re-signing. It shouldn't be this Royal Rumble style of, well, I'm hitting the portal. See you guys later. No, it should be, you are an employee now. Contracts in college football are going to become a thing. I'm telling you this right now.
Yeah.
It is going to become a main staple of college football. You're not a, quote, student athlete anymore. You're not going to school. You are an employee. You are a paid personnel to come play football for a university. Don't you think you should be able to finish out your obligations instead of just being able to legally dip and go somewhere else in the middle of a playoff run?
Shows accountability.
It's responsibility. It's accountability. It shows that you're an adult. And I think maybe not all programs, but most programs, if they see some guy willing to bail on his team in the middle of a playoff run for the sake of money, chances are they're probably not going to take a chance on that guy for their team next year. Now, that's not speaking for all programs, because I'm sure there are some out there that would do the exact same thing. But
I think this whole one transfer portal window not only helps the Power 4 schools with coaches, I think it really helps out those Group of 5 teams in all seriousness, because you have guys out there that, let's say for Diego Pavia's sake, was at New Mexico State. Now he's at Vanderbilt. Imagine if there are more guys like Diego Pavia that make that one decision in the one window instead of having 2 of them. I just think it helps out well. And I mentioned coaches earlier. I think it helps out the coaches tremendously in Group of 5 schools.
9926 on our text line says, I believe the current rule is if you are playing past the portal deadline, then once you play your last game, you have 10 days from your last game that you played to enter the portal. I assume that will still remain the case. Yes, I think you are correct. And I think that's the right plan right there.
It says,
because you saw it with Tennessee, right?
Yep.
The portal opened in late December. Tennessee had a playoff game against Ohio State, but you had receivers hitting the portal.
It was like December 20th. I think.
You had like Squirrel White entered the portal before the Ohio State game, but he still played in that game. I would assume that would still be the case here. And I think it's going to limit a lot of that, because you're only going to have 4 teams playing beyond the point when this opens. It opens right as the quarterfinals are ending. So you only have 4 teams alive. And those are probably going to be 4 big teams. You're probably going to get a lot of portal action from those 4 teams. But I would assume that would probably still be the case for the rule, as far as, they can only, like, if once they play their last game, then their personal window opens and they can go wherever they want.
Yeah, it says here in the article, the 10-day window is expected to open January the 2nd. So that was confirmed by Pete Nakos with On3. So,
okay. Thank you, Pete Nakos.
Yeah.
You're a legend. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our phone lines, of course, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. When we come back, is it truly the era of the downfall of Alabama? Kalen DeBoer had a very, very weird comment in his press conference that I want to get into, and maybe I'm reading way too much into it, but it is a very interesting comment. That's up next. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier here with you on Next Man Up on 102.5 The Game. There you go. That was Kalen DeBoer earlier this week, completely backtracking everything he ever said against Florida State. He said they had a great week of preparation. The reporter said, well, what happened to that? And Kalen DeBoer's like, I didn't say that. So,
Yikes.
just thought that was interesting. Kind of shows the state of Alabama football right now. Next man up, Connor Newt, Nick Frazier here with you. And I asked the question, based on what you've heard there and how different that is from what you're used to hearing from the Alabama head coach, are we truly in the era of the downfall of Alabama football? And I don't mean downfall meaning they're going to have a Florida State level collapse where they go 12-0 one season and then 2-10 the next season. But I mean, are we in the stage of Alabama is a mediocre football program? Like they are a 9-3. They're Texas A&M at this point. Are we in that era with Kalen DeBoer at the helm?
I think right now, yeah, they're in a little bit of a limbo for sure. Kalen DeBoer has a ceiling with these Power 4 schools, especially at Alabama. The SEC, there is a ceiling for certain coaches. I think Brian Kelly is trying to erase that ceiling in some regards at LSU, having that winning pedigree again. I think for Alabama with Kalen DeBoer, and I mentioned it before, there's nothing that really excites me about DeBoer. And yeah, I don't know if he's really the guy to fix everything after Saban. This is definitely a stopgap coach in this aspect.
Yeah, I think, and you'll hear a lot of harping lately about, well, he's got a $70 million buyout. I promise you, the Alabama boosters and the people in Tuscaloosa will find the money.
Yeah.
If he's that bad, they will find the money. And I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he is a good X's and O's coach for a conference outside of the SEC. That's what he needs to realize. This ain't the Pac-12 anymore. You're not playing Oregon, who's a great team, but Oregon is probably your only elite level opponent your entire year. This isn't that anymore. You are playing SEC football. That is week to week. You are playing the best of the best. And you may have some average teams in there, like in Arkansas or, God save us all, Kentucky. But you are playing pretty much on a consistent basis the teams that you're going to see in the playoff. And that's like Texas and Georgia and LSU and maybe Tennessee and teams like that. This is not low-level Power 4 football anymore. This is the best of the best. So to be the best of the best in that conference, you got to coach the best of the best. He hasn't been doing that. His excuse lately has been, well, I feel like I can go into these games and out-scheme the other coach. You couldn't out-scheme an ACC team. So what does that tell me you're going to do against Georgia in a couple weeks on the road?
You got to clock manage. There's no out-scheme in Georgia. You just have to clock manage.
Yep.
And you just pick and choose your battles.
So tickets for tomorrow's game, Alabama, and I believe they're playing Louisiana Monroe, one of the worst teams in FBS football, $8. Says a lot about the state of care. Now, I understand they're playing it's a bye game. No one cares.
Yeah, cupcake.
It's a cupcake. You just want to get your wins where you can. But when I went to MTSU a couple of years ago, MTSU went on there. It was actually Saban's last home opener as the Alabama head coach. Those tickets were $40 a piece. Now they are $8 for the same level of opponent. I mean, that tells you a lot. I think I saw someone yesterday posted that 2 chicken quesadillas from Taco Bell cost $11.30. So that's more than an Alabama ticket.
Oh, wow.
So if you're thinking about lunch, maybe head down to Tuscaloosa.
There you go. That's interesting. Now, you do make a good point. Sure, it's $2 and some change of difference when it comes to, ticket prices. But for me, Kalen DeBoer needs to have a reset game against UL Monroe. And this is definitely one of those things to where you look at, I don't know, you look at DeBoer and Ryan Williams. I mentioned last week when we were on the radio that Ryan Williams, he got hurt. He was in concussion protocol the rest of that game. I don't think he played the rest of the game, to be honest with you. And now that I don't know the current status of him, but if you're going to go out there and target Ryan Williams every single play for the most part, you're going to get your key guys hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And if DeBoer's going to do that, then he's not going to be there that long.
Yeah.
He's just not.
I mean, I think we're underestimating the level of the standard that Alabama puts on these coaches.
Now,
sorry.
No, you go ahead.
You are the guy after the guy, and you never want to be the guy after the guy. There are rare cases where the guy after the guy has panned out, and I think you're seeing that right now for a certain team in blue in the college basketball scheme.
Right.
But Nick Saban is the greatest coach that has ever touched a college football field. There is no following up his legacy. That said, they expect to compete for a championship. They expect 10-2, 11-1, 12-0. They expect that level of success on a year-to-year basis.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot, as the Alabama head coach anymore, go out and win or lose 4 games, including your bowl game against a Big Ten team that went 6-6 in the regular season. It's just not how it works. So I think if this trend continues, they're going to be scraping together money. I promise you they will. If Texas A&M can do it with Jimbo Fisher, Alabama can do it with Kalen DeBoer. And then they're going to be looking for a coach this next offseason. And we don't know who that is. That might be Lane Kiffin or someone that they think can come in and produce immediate results. But this was a project hire to me.
Yeah.
You can look at the resume for Kalen DeBoer and say, well, he's won everywhere he's been. Not on this level.
And you still have Ty Simpson. Let's not forget that. I mean,
who was remarkably underwhelming.
Yeah. And you could say it's his decision-making on the field, or you could put it on the shoulders of Kalen DeBoer saying, no, Ty Simpson's our guy going into this year. And everybody said it going into the season. Kalen DeBoer said Ty Simpson's his guy. You're going to have to fall on the shoulders of Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
If Ty Simpson doesn't pan out, you don't pan out.
Yep.
Simple as that.
I mean, that's your guy. I know you didn't recruit him, but you named him the starter, and you had the option to go recruit over him, and you didn't. So
now, to that point, too, about the lack of recruiting from Alabama and Kalen DeBoer.
I don't think there's a lack of recruiting.
Well, I know. I'm just saying
the talent is flowing
lack of the talent that he wants to put out there on the field. You think that comes into a factor as well?
I don't think it's the lack of recruiting because he's recruiting blue chip talent.
I'm talking about the lack of talent he's putting out on the field.
It's a matter of they're not going out there and producing.
I really think what it is, I don't think it's missed assignments or drop balls or Ty Simpson making bad. I don't think that's what it boils down to. I really think what it boils down to is lack of effort. Yep. The effort from the Alabama players was not there, and that wasn't a problem under Nick Saban. Usually under Nick Saban coach teams, if you don't give anything but 100% on the field, you don't have to worry about the coaches screaming at you when you go in the locker room. You have to worry about the players. Those were player-led teams. There's no player leadership under a Kalen DeBoer right now.
Yeah,
that's fair.
There's a whole file of sound bites in that folder of just Nick Saban screaming at his players.
Yeah.
There isn't that with Kalen DeBoer. There's no accountability, it looks like, and that's a program issue. That is the message you're teaching these players. And I understand you're never going to follow up Nick Saban. Nick Saban's the greatest to ever do it and always will be. But on that note, Alabama expects results. Quickly, let's go to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Edward wants to weigh in. Edward, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Just out running, getting my morning run in. I listen to the morning show. Great job, guys.
Thank you very much.
2 things I wanted to mention about if you could pick any current player in the NFL to come to the Tennessee Titans. I think that's what the question was. Who would it be? Well, guys, the most important sport position in any sport is the National Football League quarterback, period. He's equal to the coach. I'm sorry, he is. I would take Patrick Mahomes in a heartbeat. That's the game changer for everything. Now, Cam Ward, I'm giving him his opportunity. He's a rookie, and we're going to see rookie results. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. He will come into it in 2 to 3 years. We'll see what's happening. The second comment, Coach DeBoer. You guys are too young to remember it. I'm 63. Ray Perkins took over for Bear Bryant. He went 10-2 his first season, I believe. They were ready to get rid of him. It's just a no-win situation. You are correct. We got to experience something in our lifetime watching Nick Saban, the greatest college football coach in the history of the game. I've always had it Nick Saban, Bear Bryant, and Newt Rockney. Newt Rockney died at 34 in a plane crash. He'd already won 4 national championships.
Mm-hmm.
No telling what he would have pulled off. But those are my comments. As silly as they may be, I'm sorry, I'd take Patrick Mahomes, and we would win. He is the game changer. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Edward. Thank you for the call. That was great. Yeah, I think he hit on an interesting point there on the DeBoer front as far as patience. But I don't think in this new era of college football and college sports in general, especially with the standards Alabama has right now, I don't think he has time for patience.
No, there's zero patience with that. I call it organization because
it is an organization now.
It's zero patience. And to your point earlier about, DeBoer and, the aspect of, not producing in some aspects, like the lack of effort Parker was talking about under Saban. I feel like modern day coaches, and I put DeBoer in this category, take that for granted. They already expect that. And sometimes I think it's okay as a head coach to reassure that, to tell your guys in the locker room, hey, if we want this to be a player-led locker room, show me.
Yeah.
And if not, I will take initiative. As you should, as a head coach, you should. But I think a lot of these head coaches in modern day college football take that for granted a little bit, and they expect it.
I mean, you kind of expect this isn't the NFL where there are nice guys and there are mean guys. Like, seems like for the most part, most college coaches are hard-nosed, run through the wall, coaching for their jobs every year because that's how the state of the game is now. If you don't produce in a 2 to 3 year span, you're probably gone depending on the program, unless your name is Marcus Stoops and you've been there for 10 years and still haven't produced results.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of get it together, man. Like, I haven't seen, and this is all optics. Maybe he does behind the scenes, just like Brian Callahan. Maybe he does it behind the scenes. I haven't seen Kalen DeBoer rip a player for not executing or not having the same amount of effort that they have in practice in a game day scenario because, again, maybe all optics, maybe he's doing that in the locker room, but I think for the public eye standpoint and for the standpoint of Tuscaloosa journalism and the University of Alabama, I need to see Kalen DeBoer get mad. I need to see him crash out on a player at the podium or crash out on his coaching staff or crash out on himself and be accountable. None of this, I didn't say that. Did I say that? And every journalist there confirms you did, in fact, say that. No more of this excuse making. Those people in Tuscaloosa want to win. You were hired to win. So go out and do that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. I sound like a salesman right now. Coming up next, speaking of get right games around the SEC, there are a couple big games in the SEC. One has a get right game coming off of a loss. The other two are big games for implications going on later in the season. That's up next. Next man up here on 1025, Connor Newt, Nick Frazier. We'll be right back after this. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game, Jake Lyman, missing in action. So Connor Newt, myself, Nick Frazier, himself, I've said that like 8 times today,
In the flesh.
are taking over. We've taken the reins. Some big games, sort of, across the SEC this weekend. Speaking of get-right games, we just talked about Alabama and how they got to get on the right track. There's another team that lost over the weekend, last weekend. One of 2 SEC programs, that is. Texas against UTSA. What do you think Texas needs to come out and show, especially Arch Manning against, again, a lower tier FBS opponent? They're favored by 38.5 right now, I think. Maybe it's gone up to 45. I can't remember.
I see it on ESPN at 36.5.
Okay, so it's gone down.
So,
but they are favored by a large margin.
Yeah.
What does Texas, from a skill standpoint, need to show us that they are still a top tier team in the nation?
Personally, looking at Arch Manning, he's the eye candy everybody pays attention to, but the passing, I think Arch has to really dial in on a lot of these passing routes. And I mentioned it last Saturday or Sunday, whenever we were on in Parker, we all were talking about it. Monday. Thank you. It was that Arch was just not dialed in on a lot of those passes in the fourth quarter on that last drive they had.
Yeah.
Stuff was thrown behind them, overthrown certain wide receivers. I just think that's something that Arch has to dial in on and just take advantage of a team like San Jose State. You know, somebody's mentioned on the text line multiple times in previous weeks saying, oh, college football needs to have a spring preseason game, whatever, to dial out these kinks. I mean, no, because it's college football. And 2, this is why you have cupcake games. So I think you're playing at home. San Jose State comes to you. This is a get-right game, not only for just Texas as a whole, because we've seen what their defense, can do, and their run game is fine. It's primarily the passing game. And if they can dial in on the passing game, and I'm not talking about deep balls down the field. I'm talking about intermediate routes, short out routes, stuff like that. That's what really needs to be dialed in on, because we know Arch has the arm for the most part. Sure, a lot of his balls were not tight spirals. He's a young kid.
And you want those balls tight?
Yeah. On the field. You're right.
On the field.
Yeah, on the field. So it's just something you have to dial in on. I don't know. What do you think about Texas?
I think we're overreacting on Arch Manning a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he looked really bad, but it was against Ohio State on the road. And if Ohio State is what I think Ohio State is, that's going to be one of the top defenses in the nation this year. I think my dad told me this the other day. If he doesn't go out and throw for 350 and 4 touchdowns, then he's probably a failure. I don't think he needs to do that much, but I think he needs to show signs of progression and bounce back and saying, I had a really bad game. And he handled his press conference very maturely. I was very impressed.
Yeah.
He needs to go out, have a good game, don't turn the ball over, and just look like a competent quarterback. I can't exactly put a stat line on it because I don't like doing that. I don't think it's fair to say, well, if you don't meet this certain benchmark precisely, then you are a failure of a quarterback.
Right.
I'll say the same thing about Cam Ward on Sunday. If I don't think we can put a certain stat line on him, but if he goes out and he looks like a, dialed in quarterback, competent, paying attention to his reads, and on the Steve Sarkisian front, open that playbook up a little bit more. Because against Ohio State, it was very conservative. It was run. We'll throw a bubble screen to the left. We'll throw check downs, etc. Arch didn't throw for over 5-yard passes for a long, long time.
Right.
He looked terrible, and that's part of the reason. But I got to see a lot more from Texas. You got to open the playbook up. You got to show me that your quarterback is competent. And I think they can do that against UTSA. They're going to win by 35.
Yeah. There were points in that Texas-Ohio State game. Obviously, the ramifications of it all. It's a high-profile game. But at the same time, there were times in the red zone where Texas could have probably just taken the points.
Yeah.
And it probably would have worked out for them later on in that game against Ohio State. So obviously it's San Jose State. You can take advantage of a 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, because more than likely the percentages are you're going to get that first down. But I would like to see some of the decision-making, not from Arch, not from the offense, just from Steve Sarkisian and that offensive side of the ball, coaching-wise. Just make the right decisions. And that's all about building along the rest of the season. And if they can kind of fix a lot of those kinks out against a team that they should take advantage of, this team should be back on track easy.
if you're just tuning in and wondering where Jake Lyman is, I'll tell you right now. He's headed down the road to Blacksburg, Virginia, where Virginia Tech and Vandy are about to do battle tomorrow night. So let's talk about that game.
Yeah.
Big game for both teams. This is a can Vanderbilt show that they are still the same level of team they were last year game for them. And this is a revenge game for Virginia Tech. They played South Carolina close, didn't score a touchdown, but played them close. And they're playing at home in probably one of the best environments in college football at night. What do we make of this one? I think this is going to be a sneaky good game. I'm very excited to watch this one.
Yeah, I said this yesterday with Jake. It's an environment that Pavia has never experienced. I think that's going to play a huge factor into this. Vandy is definitely a good ball club, but they played Charleston Southern, and there were a lot of things that they capitalized on against a team that's practically a preseason game for them. Going up against a team like Virginia Tech, it's a little bit similar to Vanderbilt in a roundabout way. Kyron Drones, I love the way that Tech was able to, I guess, manipulate their play calling to where Drones, if they were design runs, they weren't design runs. He figured out a way to get that first down. I think he rushed for 35, 36 yards, something like that. He just picked and chooses his battles as a quarterback. And if I'm Vandy, just eliminate the run. I'm confident enough that this pass defense for Vanderbilt can kind of pacify that Virginia Tech offense, but just eliminate the run and they should be all right.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fun one to watch because I think Virginia Tech has shown that they compete with the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
They played Carolina close for a good portion of that game, and it was partially because of their defense.
Mm-hmm.
That said, you're returning home on your opening night in one of the best environments in all of college football. It is hard for me to say that Virginia Tech is going to come out here and get smoked because I think they're going to be playing for those fans in the stands. That said, on paper, I think Vanderbilt is probably the better team, but this is where college football gets fun. Environments and mentalities come into factor, and they could ultimately go out and lose.
And imagine what that Virginia Tech locker room is like right now when it comes to...
They're dialed in. They've had this one circled. They lost last year.
Yeah, and especially for Brent Pry. I mean, come on now.
Yeah,
Think about that.
Hot seat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to be playing for your coach, and, that's something that Tech fans might need to, realize that this could be one of those games where you have to get the win.
Yeah.
And because if you don't, then your season's kind of down the tube.
Yeah. And I mean, you especially don't want to go down the tube because you play in a weak ACC conference and I would say, are probably one of the better teams in said conference. So you could easily compete for an ACC title. Hey, if you're out watching the NFL games this Sunday, come out to Twin Peaks in Madison. Big Joe and Chris Sanders will be hosting the game's pregame show from 1 to 3 p.m. prior to the Titans season opener versus the Broncos. Pregame show is brought to you by Parman Tractor and Equipment, Old National Bank, Circa Sportsbook, Kentucky, and Tennessee Brewworks. Speaking of Vanderbilt football, the Commodores are traveling to Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech tomorrow. Pregame at 5 and kickoff at 6:30 p.m. Vanderbilt football brought to you by Gary Force Acura and Smoky Mountain Tops. Next minute up here on 102.5 The Game. When we come back, I'm on the air. You know I love my EA games. So there was some news that came out yesterday about the future of EA gaming and college athletics that I have a problem with. We'll get to that next. Next man up, Connor Newt, Nick Frazier here on 102.5 The Game. Next man up, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly BI membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you today. So, the big news of yesterday, not even on the field news, not even, I mean, technically it's sports news. I'm on the air. You know I'm going to talk about this because it's my favorite topic. EA Sports has officially canceled plans to create a college basketball game. Now, the plans for that were glorious. 350 plus teams, men's and women's, similar to what the college football game is right now. You have your dynasty, you have your ultimate team, whatever you want to play.
All the fun.
All the fun. They have canceled their plans. In replace of that, 2K is going to create a game. They're going to add a DLC to 2K27, I would assume, of college teams. And then in 27, they're going to create their own standalone game. Now, they've said this is going to have, quote, over 100 teams, Power 4, mid-major, what have you. I'm kind of disappointed. And I'll tell you why. Because I wanted the full experience. I wanted 350 teams. Now I only get 100 plus, and that could be 105. It could be 150. But what drives me crazy about this is what makes college basketball so fun is the tournament. How am I going to have a 68 team tournament when there's only 100 teams in the game and make logical sense? Let's say I'm playing with Kentucky and we are the number 1 overall seed. Who are we going to play in the first round at number 16?
North Carolina.
8-20 Pitt. That, first off, that doesn't even make logical sense for them to even make the tournament. They have 8 wins. But I don't want to play them. I want to play Oakland. I want to play Troy. I want to play
Florida Gulf Coast,
Alabama A&T, all these teams that you've never heard of before. I want to play them. And on the other side, I want to start a rebuild with those teams and make them a college basketball powerhouse. I want to take the Murray State Racers all the way. That's why I'm kind of disappointed, because you don't have that, kind of like the college football game has now. You don't have, I can't take Bowling Green all the way. Like, if I were to guess, I did the math yesterday. There are 76 teams across all Power 4, and that is SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12. My guess is they're going to add the Big East, which is the right move. That would give you probably like 90 teams. Then you got to have like Gonzaga and Memphis and these big basketball powerhouse teams that aren't in traditional conferences, but are still contending on a year-to-year basis. That probably gets you up to 100. So I don't want to play the chalk teams. I want to play the unknowns. I want to play Belmont, and I don't know. Let's just make up a team here. Texas Air Conditioning and Plumbing.
There you go.
Something like that. That's why I'm kind of disappointed.
Mississippi Valley State. There you go.
It's real.
That is a real.
It's a real place.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean,
Hear me
it's
out.
probably not in the general interest of the public, but
Right.
it's the general interest of my generation.
I get the whole EA thing. I think 2K does a better job at creating a basketball game. I think graphics wise, it's nice, it's smooth, so forth. But you're right about the whole 100 teams. You said DLC for the first year, right? And
Yeah, it'll probably be like a paid thing.
Yeah, and
pay $30 for the SEC pack.
Yeah, like I get all that. It's a money-making thing, but at the same time, you have to look at it from a licensing standpoint. They're probably getting the licensing as the game progresses, unfortunately. And that's just...
Yeah, I think it'll expand.
Yeah,
Like,
I just think that's a bad way of doing things. Just create a game when you have everything ready, like what they did with NCAA. I mean, the football game.
it took a while,
It did.
but we have it,
Exactly.
and it's glorious.
Yeah, so...
And I play it every night, and my dad makes fun of me. He's like, is that all you play? And I'm like, yeah.
Please, make fun of me.
It's my job.
Yeah.
It's my
So I'm indifferent on the whole thing. I don't agree with the making the game before all the teams are ready. I get the whole 100 team thing, but just wait till you have all 300.
I mean, EA was going to put theirs out in 28. I was more than willing to wait till 28 if I could play with 350 plus teams.
Yeah, I mean, for the last 10 to 12 years, everybody was downloading rosters for old games, and they just kept using those new rosters for the old graphics.
Yeah, I mean, it was Ricky last night said, 2K8 still exists. And I'm like, Rick, I don't have the option of the ancient technology known as an Xbox 360.
Yeah.
So And then that turned into, why are you calling me old? I'm like, because you are.
Oh, man, really out there. No, this is you're right though. It is malpractice for them to go release 100 teams. I just hope that the graphics are not bad. I think
they'll be great.
Yeah, 2K's done a really good job of just making really good graphics.
Get the environment right.
Yeah,
that's kind of my disappointment too, is because I think EA nailed the environment for college football.
Yeah,
like it's perfect. College basketball is such a different environment from the NBA and so much more fun, and it makes it more watchable than the NBA. So make that environment. I want the band playing while I'm calling a timeout in Rupp Arena up 40 against Tulsa.
Yeah. I liked an NCAA 10 when you could hear Gus Johnson, we're in Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, like
the Final Four.
Yeah, that was crazy. Hearing Gus Johnson call a basketball game, that's the atmosphere you want, like you're talking about. That's what they need to bring back. See, that's what NCAA football did. They spent that extra time to really hone in on the details, to make sure the gamer that's just consuming that video game, that they're immersed into all of it.
I mean, it's the small, like, this for playing with Texas Tech. When you kick off, you got the tortilla toss.
Yeah. I mean, there's no other place you get it. I love it. I love every bit
and
of
I
it.
want that in this. And I'm scared it's not going to be there because it's 2K, and 2K's traditionally lazy.
Yeah.
And likes money.
Sure.
Now, a lot of people are complaining about, like, they're going to charge so much for the career mode. I don't really play the career mode. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, Dynasty and college football is a career mode, but that's coaching career. And I like to play with the whole team. I didn't ever get into the Road to Glory stuff. That's all you guys. Yeah. But I don't really care about that. Just give me a good game.
It's fair.
That's all I care about.
Yeah, but I'd say basketball Road to Glory was a little different. They didn't start out in high school. They started out as like freshmen in college, and then went on to the pros. As for college football, it was high school, college football, and pros,
and you played all 4 years of high school,
which I thought was pretty cool. So but
well, I mean, that's my video game rant for the day. I'm done.
I love it. I love it. I think that's exactly what we need to see. Is we need to see all teams out all at once, not just your DLC here, DLC there, DLC 5 months down the road. Because that just makes a boring product.
I'm bored of NBA. I don't like NBA in general, so I'm bored of the game. That's why I play so much college football, because there's nothing like college sports.
Exactly.
It's my favorite. And NHL comes out next week. I'm excited for that.
Oh, really?
Hockey. We're getting to hockey season.
We are getting to hockey season. I'm pretty pumped for this year, to be honest.
What y'all know about hockey?
Yeah, Parker Kelly. What do you know?
Yeah, what do you know? Give us a breakdown of the Predators' third line pairings.
That'll have to suffice for another time.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got to do more research on that.
Yeah, I love it, though.
I'm ready for Preds hockey.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have a better year than they did last year.
Absolutely.
Hard not to. But I think, without giving anything away, I think, a wild card position is in play here.
Absolutely.
That's just my opinion.
If not, yeah. Definitely.
If not, then we're going to have a conversation about that head coach there.
Maybe.
Andrew Brunette. Who's better, Andrew Brunette or Fred Brunette?
It's tough.
Fred Brunette's the man.
Yeah. Maybe Freddie.
Freddie called in last week.
Yeah. Chatted with him after halftime. Cool guy.
Good win for them.
It was a good win for them.
Lots of good games tonight.
Yeah.
And you can catch them all. Well, not the game, but you can catch our game of the week right here on 102.5 The Game. Parker Kelly and I will have the Game Blitz pregame show prior to that. And then afterwards, it's the Game Blitz from the end of the Metro Nashville game of the week. All night long, probably till around 11:30, midnight.
Or sunrise.
Whatever comes first.
We better not be in here until sunrise, Connor. We got to be back here tomorrow morning.
That is true. And I also got to produce a game going on in Madison, Wisconsin tomorrow.
There you go.
But some good high school games tonight. Excited for the family affair is tonight. Blackman and Riverdale. Got boots on the ground in that one. So we'll hear some reports from there. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. When we come back, we'll get back into the Titans because they play a game in 2 days, believe it or not. Is there truly a world where the Titans knock off the Denver Broncos in the Mile High Stadium? That's up next. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game, broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly here with you on this beautiful Friday, football Friday, high school football tonight. Some college games on tonight as well, but high school football takes priority on Friday nights. Let's talk about the Titans again. They play in about, let me check my watch, 2 days. Titans Sunday at 3:05 p.m. against the Denver Broncos over in Denver, Colorado. So I ask you, obviously the Titans are not heavily favored in this one. I believe they're 10-point dogs on the road. Last I looked, it may have gone up
8.5.
It's gone down 8.5.
I think it
dogs.
opened at 6.5, and it's now gone up to 8.
Okay,
so yeah.
8.5 point dogs on the road. So I ask you, Nick Frazier, is there truly a world where the Titans can knock off the Denver Broncos in Week 1?
I think so. I think, like I talked about earlier in the show, just the amount of injuries and limited participants and did not practice, like Nate Atkins, tight end. I mean, obviously he's probably second fiddle, but you look at Dre Greenlaw, linebacker with the quad. Greenlaw is one of those players that can kind of change a game for you on the defense side of the ball. And if that middle of the field is kind of open a little bit, like I said before, Cam Ward can exploit those open areas. Nonetheless, they're not going to be down a linebacker. They're going to have another linebacker out there, just may not be as experienced. Marvin Mims, he had that whole thigh groin injury last week, and Sean Payton said he was going to play Monday in practice, and he's been a full participant all week, but you still have to keep a factor into that. Maybe that bodes well for L'Jarius Sneed, because, if the Titans are trying to ramp him back up into possibly being one of those guys that needs that football fitness up a little bit, that's the guy you want to match him with for the most part.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, Mims will probably be in the slot, but if there's some sort of overlapping routes on the offensive side of the ball, if they're playing zone, that'd be good for Sneed. But I just think this bodes well for the Titans. Just the amount of injuries and just, Nashville, the Titans, having Dan Moore Jr. as a full participant yesterday, I think more of it was just keeping him at ease when it came for his little ankle injury, get a lot of stem work, get a lot of treatment, and be fully healthy for Sunday. Because if you have a fully healthy left tackle, the backside of Cam Ward should be okay.
Yeah, you make a point that I was getting to eventually is I look at this offense for the Denver Broncos on paper. They don't impress me all that much on offense. Bo Nix, I think, is a fine young quarterback. I think he's going to be good, especially under Sean Payton. But I look at the receiver room. You have Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin, and these guys that I think are kind of similar to the wide receivers you have on your roster. So I don't think from an offensive comparison standpoint that these two offenses are too far off on paper. Now, defensively is where it gets a little hazy, because I think Titans don't have anyone to hit the quarterback. Broncos just paid someone that does hit the quarterback. So I don't expect the Titans to go out and, win this game and pull off a major upset. But I could see a world where they hang close, because I don't think either offense is too particularly enticing, and that's the Titans defense isn't that good, but they're kind of similar teams. Like the Broncos are just the better version of the Titans later on down the line, it seems like.
Yeah, definitely in a different window for sure, but you're right. They're on that same trajectory. Just Denver's a little ahead of schedule.
Yeah, they got the coach.
Yeah,
that's why.
That a really good play caller in some aspects, but I don't know, with Dre Greenlaw out, and you got to remember Pat Surtain is out there out at, I guess you call it Surtain Island in some regard.
Reigning defensive player of the year.
Yeah. So if you're the Titans, do you focus more on the run game, or do you kind of throw the opposite way of Surtain?
Well, if you're throwing towards Surtain, chances are you're throwing towards Calvin Ridley.
Right.
That's how it's going to be. So I don't know who gets open. I mean, Alec Iomanner is rumored to be a starter on the unofficial depth chart. I would believe it when I see it if he starts over Van Jefferson, but he could be an option to be open. Van Jefferson, if he decides he wants to play football today, could be an option.
I see this game as a Gunnar Helm game, man. This is where he establishes his name in the NFL. Well, like I said, with Dre Greenlaw, for the most part, not practicing for the quad, this opens up the middle of the field for Gunnar Helm. It really does.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I would expect Chig to get more targets than Gunnar Helm.
see, here's the issue. Not an issue. It's just something I picked up yesterday, and it could just be nothing. But there was a clip we played yesterday, and Cam Ward was talking about, his receivers and just different options he has as to throw to. And he mentioned all the wide receivers. And once he got to the tight ends, he was like, I got my boy Gunnar Helm, Chigakonkwo. And I don't know if that's telling or not, but it just seems to me if your star quarterback is leaning on your rookie tight end over Chigakonkwo, again, it could have just been, it rolled off his tongue that way. I just see a little bit more into that, though.
Let's go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our good friend Adam in Portland on this fine Friday morning. Adam, good morning.
Hey, so here's the thing, man. Is it so much to ask for me to just want to see it from Denver before you guys start treating them like, and not by you guys, not just you guys, but all of you guys on the radio, dude, treating them like they're world beaters, man. Like, you seen Belichick the other day, right? What he looks like without Tom Brady?
Right.
Like,
Yes.
how's Peyton any different? Like, what's he look like without Drew Brees? Yeah, I get it. They were okay last year, but he's not done anything. And I want to see it. And any quarterback can come in and have a decent year, dude. Bo Nix, that's what I'm saying. I think he's the perfect candidate for a sophomore slump because they have tape on him now. And I just want to see it. I understand the Titans don't have a pass rush. You tell me that still, then we're probably giving him credit for. So I think he's hearing you too, and he'll figure something out. But I don't think Denver is this great juggernaut, dude. Like, I think the Titans can hang with them. And you have a competitive quarterback, and that's all you really need is for somebody that's touching the football every play to be a competitive player to have a shot. I think they have a shot.
I'm right there with you, Adam. Like,
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you for the call. I'm not on the train of anointing Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos as the second coming. I'm not.
I don't think the Broncos are going to blow out the Titans because the Broncos are that good. I think they're going to blow them out because the Titans are that bad.
I think differently.
Really?
I think it's going to be a tight ball game. I think both offenses are going to struggle. To Adam's point about a sophomore slump with Bo Nix, I think there's going to be a little bit of a sophomore slump with just Bo Nix, but also the offense under Sean Payton. This could be a game where, Brian Callahan's trying to feel things out with Cam Ward on the field as well. So I feel like it's going to be a back and forth chess match in some regard. That should be like 7-7 at half.
That's what I think.
Or 7-10 at half. And
then I think we get to the traditional Titans don't play football in the second half. And I think the Broncos win like 24-10.
Interesting. See, if it's a tight ball game, a one possession game at halftime, the Titans are right there in it to the point where they could go out and win a game. I'm predicting 16-13. That's my final prediction. Titans on a field goal. Yep.
I don't hate it. I say they're going to get blown out. Blown out is probably an exaggeration for me because I tend to exaggerate a lot for the sake of humor. But I don't think, I think it's going to be, you're going to see promise from Cam Ward on like the first drive and they'll score then.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Broncos will come right back. And then it's just defensive football the rest of the second half.
I'm clipping that.
Yeah, you should. That was for you, Nashville. But I think we get to the second half and it's just, the Broncos take over and the Titans forget how to play football. Let's go back to our phone lines. Welcome in Dylan from Nashville with a comment on Gunnar Helm. Hello, Dylan.
Hey, guys, how you doing? Real quick prediction. I think Titans actually edge it on this one, 27-24 with a late Joey Sly field goal as well. But just a little nugget for Gunnar Helm. He actually grew up right outside of Broncos Stadium. So I think it's a little bit of a homecoming. He's going to have a ton of family there. And I know about, coaches typically, they know that's happening. So I'm sure he's going to get targeted at least 3 to 5 times in this game. Looking for his first touchdown, and it's at plus 1,000 right now. So, $10. Looking pretty good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dylan. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. It is of sorts a homecoming game for Gunnar Helm growing up just outside of Mile High Stadium. To me, Gunnar Helm is a red zone threat in this game. I think he's the kind of guy you're going to plug in on a goal line play and, he just runs a simple cross across the middle and you find him there for a touchdown.
Yeah, I see Helm being used as one of those little streak routes up the middle and or in the flats. We saw that a lot last year when he played at Texas. It was the Quinn Ewers Gunnar Helm connection out of the backfield where it was a 2-3 yard out route and he's just there as the check down, just waiting for the ball.
Yeah.
And I could see that happening because Brian Callahan said a few weeks back that or somebody was saying that he and Cam Ward kind of look back at some things that worked for Cam at Miami. And so you look at that and you're right there.
Sorry, just thinking about what I just unleashed on the air
Oh,
a
that's
couple
okay.
weeks,
No,
a couple minutes ago.
You're good. It's just you look at Gunnar Helm, and I'm sure they probably looked at some of Texas's tape, said, yeah, this worked for Gunnar Helm. And Cam Ward's like, yeah, I can do that. That's easy. It's just a check down. Because you look at Miami's tape last year, there was a lot of times they found Elijah Arroyo over the middle, and it was kind of going vertical. And so that's something you can mix and match, and it's a good chemistry, especially connecting on all cylinders as rookie, chemistry that is.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. You can text or call us. Again, our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We'll continue the conversation. Is there truly a world where you think the Titans come into Mile High Stadium and take out the win? Also, Jeffrey Simmons had some comments yesterday on Bo Nix and how they plan to limit him, which I found very, very interesting. We'll get to that next. Next man up here on 102.5, Connor Newton, Nick Frazier. We'll be right back after this on 102.5 The Game. You hear that, everyone? If Bo Nix doesn't have his first read, he's just going to take off running. Yeah, that's 1,000% how Bo Nix plays the game of football, Jeff. Thanks for that insight. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game, Connor Newt, Nick Frazier with you, talking Titans. Is there a world where the Titans actually come in and knock off the Broncos? And I think that kind of starts at the point I'm about to make in that clip that just made. Titans got to limit Bo Nix. That said, I find it funny that Jeff does not know how Bo Nix plays the game of football, and I think it's pretty evident in that answer. But I bring up this clip to ask you, will Big Jeff actually back up his word for once? Because it's always the day before a game or the last practice before a game, it's Jeffrey Simmons. Oh, we're going to stop the run. They're not going to run on us. No one runs on the Titans. And then today it's no, Bo Nix ain't going to stop us. We're going to get to him. We're going to limit his first read. And then when he takes off running, we're just going to get to him. I'm tired of the Jeff Simmons trash talk, and then he doesn't back it up. So I ask you this to say, is this the day he actually backs it up, or is it going to be more of the same from him?
I think it will be. I really do.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think you trim down this past off season. This is a prove it type year in a roundabout way. There's a lot of missing pieces on that defensive side of the ball, and you're the only bright spot to some regard on that defense. You're a captain. I think that would be a huge bright spot to point out. Mike Borgonzi mentioned, I think a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago when he spoke, that the defense wants to make sure they have the three technique situated. You line up in the guard, the B gap, that is. And normally Jeffrey Simmons and Tavondre Sweat will be just blowing the middle of the line up. So if you can do that and create more chaos on the outside of the offensive line, outside the tackles with your edge rushers, that's primarily what he's talking about in that clip, I think.
Yeah.
Making sure that obviously they're not going to run on them because the middle of the line is going to be blown up. But that's where you see guys like Femi Oladipo that's going to have to shine. It's going to be baptism by fire. And I think Jeff's going to back up his word. I really do. Me being, again, Mississippi State fan, whatever, he's from a Mississippi State player, that besides the point, I think Jeff's still a pretty darn good player. Just he's got to show it this year for sure.
Here's a stat from Easton Freeze. He put this out the other day. Only 4 qualifying quarterbacks in 2024, 39 in total, threw to their first read less than Bo Nix in 2024, and that's per fantasy points data. So I don't know where Jeffrey Simmons got this idea.
Exactly.
Bo Nix is one of the, at least last year, was one of the best at going through his progression. So I have no idea where he got this idea from.
Bo Nix is the quarterback that spreads the wealth as far as targets. Like, he's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Josh Allen, where if his read's not, you saw Jalen Hurts last night. If his read's not there, he's going to take off running. That's not what Bo Nix is. Bo Nix is a field general pocket passer that just stays in the pocket, waits for his read to come open, and when it comes open, he threads the needle and finds him. So I don't know where Jeff got this. Our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. 6932 says, I think you guys are absolutely sleeping on Denver, and this is not going to be as close as you think. Defense last year for Denver was 3rd overall in the league with fewest yards allowed, top 10 with fewest points allowed, first in sacks. Cam Ward is going to have his hands full. I don't think this will be a close game. Yeah, I think the defensive integrity for Denver is going to be the name of the game. That's why I don't think this will be close, because I think, Cam Ward's going to struggle. He's going to make some mistakes. People are going to overreact. It's going to be a whole thing. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. You're going to love the meltdown of Titans Twitter and maybe some of the beefs I find myself getting into.
I look into having Cody Barton on the team now. Like, if the Titans now have Cody Barton, which
revenge game for him, by the way.
It's a revenge game, but also he too mentioned about having the insider edge of being on that defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if you have that insider edge of being on the defensive side of the ball, knowing the tendencies of what Bo Nix kind of did in practice last year, I think that kind of helps the explanation of what Jeffrey Simmons said, going into this upcoming week. I really think a lot of people are going to be surprised with what this Titans defense offers. If it's, the defensive front, that is. I wouldn't say secondary, but defensive front.
Let's see here. 9926 says Jeff has got to be getting this information from them coaching staff, aka Denard Wilson, which is concerning. Although PK keeps calling him like Denard Walker,
Yeah.
And Denard Ward, like, he just can't get his last name right. Ricky says I sound like a Broncos fanboy for saying Bo Nix threads the needle. Have you watched Bo Nix play? I mean, I am not a Broncos fan at all. I'm a Titans guy, but I acknowledge quarterback talent when I see it, and Bo Nix is pretty good at threading the needle.
What we've learned this week is you can't acknowledge that the Broncos are a good team without being a Broncos homer.
Yeah, I mean,
it's fair.
I can go Titans homer if you want me to. I can do that. That would work just fine. Sonny on our text line says, these callers are crazy to think we are going to score a bunch. Rookie quarterbacks do not do well in their first start historically. Plus, being on the road and playing a top-tier defense, I think it's close for a quarter or two, but Broncos pull away late. Bingo. That's what I think.
Yeah. I would just love Cam Ward just upset the apple cart, man. I think that's what he'd be He'd be the first overall pick since John Elway to win their opening game. Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, you're right.
And it's in Denver, a place where Elway played. I mean, come on now. And he owns the Broncos. You know, come on now. This would be an incredible thing to see going into this weekend. Cam Ward could really establish his name, not only for the season, but in week one. It would put the Titans on the map and help their rebuilding process and just boost a massive confidence into this locker room going into the season, because then that kind of changes the trajectory a little bit when it comes to the Rams game. And I think the Titans will lose to the Rams in the home opener, but it changes the trajectory because that honestly now gives them that optimistic mindset. Yeah, we can go out there and win every single game. To Joe's question, he asked Borgonzi and Brinker, is this team is this team capable of winning a Super Bowl this upcoming season? And obviously Brinker laughed it off and Borgonzi gave him the right answer. But that honestly would change the trajectory if they won this weekend.
Matt says, I think the biggest concern with Jeff's comment is that he didn't come up with that on his own, which would lead me to believe the coaching staff grossly misdiagnosed what they're up against. Yeah, I think so.
That's fair.
I think that is Denard Wilson saying, guys, look at this one outlier piece of film. Bo Nix didn't have his read, which was Troy Franklin across the middle, so he scrambled out of the pocket and got the first down. That's what he's going to do the whole game. And I think that's just, as to use your quote there, Matt, I think that is a gross misdiagnosis of what the Broncos can do to you.
It's possible. Yeah, I mean, that you're not too far off on that, Matt. I think. I mean, there are a lot of coaches that boast the confidence of their players. So I mean, that could be a possibility. But I mean, minus the whole first read thing, this Titans interior defense is going to be a disruptor this Sunday. I just feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, if Devondre Sweat is fully healthy, like we'll see what happens. But from what Jeffrey Simmons said, I think he will back up his play on the field.
I'll believe it when I see it with him, just because I know what he does and he talks. But that's not a knock on the player. I think Jeffrey Simmons is one of my favorite players.
Yeah,
good player. Just I think he uses his vocal cords a little bit too much. 9355 says, "Here's a take, fellas. Ward throws 4 touchdowns." And the Titans draft another QB next year. That seems to be the trend lately, right?
Mariota, Levis, and then if Ward. Yikes!
Yeah, move on from that. That was terrible.
No,
that was terrible.
If he throws 4 touchdowns, I'm folding on the season. I'm not watching the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean that'd be the highlight of the year.
615-737-1025 is our phone and text line. Keep these texts coming. A lot of you guys got a lot of input on the Titans game against the Broncos on Sunday. Coming up next, another thing I want to get into on this game front. If the Titans do win this game, how important is that for the Brian Callahan hot seat talks? That's up next here on Next Man Up. Connor Newt, Parker Kelly, Nick Frazier filling in for you on 102.5 The Game.
You made my day, Connor.
There you go. That was me belching live on air, live and in person for everyone. So it's okay to pass gas on the airwaves now, everyone. Don't worry. And my dad has commented on it, and I will not read his text because he does not get that enjoyment from
Sure,
me.
Rexroad's done something like that, right? He does all the
Rexroad
microphone
punches
stuff,
the
yeah.
mic,
Yeah.
and
So it's no big deal.
Doesn't figure out how to turn his mic on.
yeah.
It happens.
Well, I'm starting a trend here, so if anyone would like to follow up and just belch on the air, go for it.
I'll pass. Thank you, though.
It's only me. I want that to be known. It was an accident. There was just no stopping it. I should have just turned my mic
I just
off,
love how
but-
you thought Fraser and I would gloss over that, just like it never happened.
Well, it's my fault. I said excuse me, so I drew attention.
True, you
to
are
it.
excused.
Thank you. I have manners, you know.
There you go.
I have a placemat sitting in my lap right now. I'm waiting for our steak dinner. 615-737-1025. Next man up here on 1025 The Game. Connor Newton, Nick Frazier filling in for Jake Lyman as he is on the way to Blacksburg. We're discussing the Titans' best case scenario if they go out and win, among other things. Can Jeffrey Simmons back up his word? And I want to get to this question here in this segment. How important is winning this game if you're Brian Callahan? Does it tone down the hot seat talk a little bit? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I have my thoughts, Frazier, but I'm curious to hear what you think of this.
I mean, back, I'd say in the spring when this whole thing, took place of keeping Brian Callahan, adding more people to this long coaching staff of a roster, however you want to look at it, it solely comes down to production. And if they get a win in week 1, do I think it pacifies a little bit of that? Yes and no. I'd say more no than yes, just because if this team still goes 1-5, 1-6, 1-7, that's where things start falling off the rails, and you start losing the locker room a little bit when you go 1-6, 1-7. Now, in the same case, though, if they're 1-6, 1-7, then Cam Ward's showing some signs of getting better. Then you have that conversation of, well, Cam Ward's getting better, but the record's not there. It's a push and pull thing. So does that come down to the shoulders of Brian Callahan? Or does that mean Bo Hardegree's doing his job or Nick Holtz is doing his job? Because they've talked about it before. There's a text chain between Callahan, Nick Holtz, Bo Hardegree, Cam Ward. They're all talking to each other at the same time. Yeah. Is that a good thing, bad thing? It solely is based off of this win. If they win this week, I think it carries some momentum. It could help out this team in the long run. But if they don't capitalize on the win, I think the hot seat conversation continues.
Bingo. That's where I was going. I think if he wins this game, no, it doesn't completely extinguish the fire of the hot seat. But I think we start to look at it and say, okay, that's a key win in the Brian Callahan season this year. That's a big one that he needed. And I think that'll carry a factor going into it if we do get to a point where we're on the fence about Brian Callahan. We can look at this game and say, okay, Brian Callahan coached a good game here and won against a playoff team in the AFC last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of the thing that we're going to look forward to. And, I don't think it'll extinguish the fire, but
I'll be optimistically concerned.
Yeah. 6727. Did you see what I did there? I did contain it. 6727 says he'll be on the hot seat, just won't be burning as bad because he's going to have to show progress with this team. That's exactly what I think.
Yeah.
I think if he wins this game, it's going to be a good, marquee win for the career of Brian Callahan. I know what you're laughing at, and I'm going to read it in just a second. It'll be a good marquee win for the Brian Callahan season in 2025, but it will not completely just go away.
Yeah.
This isn't something that goes away overnight. And I know what you're laughing at, so I'll read it right now.
You don't have to.
Dustin in Hopkinsville on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. In reference to me, dang, bro, just fart in the mic next time. Jeez.
Probably not.
Probably not. No, it was unintentional.
Yeah, you're good.
I apologize.
Now, as for the hot seat, though, conversation, if Callahan's still here and other people get canned, then that just goes to show you there's
faith in him.
Yeah, there's faith in him, and that means that they're building around Callahan because that means something under Callahan wasn't working.
Yeah, I think that would probably show you it's more a testament to the roster than it is Callahan's coaching style.
Yeah.
And right now I'm under the impression that Callahan's coaching style isn't a fit for the Titans, but if he goes out and wins this game and strings together momentum against some big wins against, I don't say you have to win them all in a row, but you beat LA and you beat your division opponents and stuff like that, then I think you can look at Callahan and say, you know what? He pieced it together this year. He deserves a third year. And Cam Ward looks good under him.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the message of the season. It's not about wins and losses. It's about how does Cam Ward and Brian Callahan look together? Can Brian Callahan develop as a coach? Can Cam Ward develop as a quarterback? I think that's kind of the story of the season for the Titans.
Look, yesterday when Jake and I were going through the whole Titans season predictions, my record for the Titans going into week 7 against the Pats was 4-2. That they had a winning record. I think it builds a good, storyline. Vrabel comes back to Nashville, but I think they get blown out by the Patriots.
I do too.
They'll be 4-3. They'll still have a winning record, but that's the thing. I think the Titans' front part of their schedule, if they can capitalize on week 1 and still have a winning record by week 7, and then if the wheels kind of fall off after the bye week, week 9, week 10?
Yeah.
If the wheels fall off after that, that's where you're going to have to really start to have the come to Jesus moment is the best way to put it. Now, in my opinion, for Brian Callahan to kind of save his job at that point, I think you finish out the year with the Saints and the Jags as a back-to-back wins. And if you do that, I think that builds momentum going into the offseason, showing promise that you had a 7-10 season, growth with Cam Ward, and maybe you can build with Callahan and Borgonzi.
Yeah. Dustin in Hopkinsville again on our text line says, winning this game could be a setup. You win this one, then lose 3 in a row and end up winning 5 total. Who cares? You didn't make the playoffs. Everything's a psychological basis. If this happens, then this. But if this happens, to forget that. This would be a good win. Just win what you should win. Progress Ward. Okay. I see what he says. Just win the games you should win. Progress Ward and be in most of the ones you shouldn't win at the end of each game.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
I mean, that's kind of what I was describing with
that's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, win what you should win, which, as we know, and as I say, the Titans do not win what they should win. They win what they shouldn't win.
And the Titans what?
The Titans,
they always tighten.
They are going to tighten.
That's your phrase.
They're going to tighten.
Yeah.
This is how they are. It's my phrase. Can I coin that?
Sure.
Okay.
You should.
Yeah. I'll get it on a T-shirt and say paid for by Connor Newt.
There you go.
We'll file an ad. I'm learning about this in media law right now. We'll file an ad and I'll go up and say, I'm Connor Newt and I approve this message, because in the Constitution, you're supposed to say that.
There you go.
But on the just overall offensive front, do you think Cam Ward has a good game against the Broncos?
I do.
It's such a simple question, but there's so many underlying storylines that I think you can go into on it.
Yeah, I mean, you could go a little deeper saying, will he struggle? Sure, he's a rookie quarterback. This is his first ever time playing a regular season game. Yeah, he's going to have some butterflies. But the way he, I guess, carries himself as a rookie quarterback, he carries himself as a true pro. And I think he's going to handle this situation in week 1 as a true pro, but also show some immaturities. And meaning he's going to have some ups and downs, but he will carry himself as a true pro. And that's simply that. I mean, there's nothing else to describe about Cam Ward. We're just going to have to see it on the field.
I think it's going to be a very up and down day for him.
It's fair.
I think you're going to see some good things you like, and I think you're going to see some crucial mistakes. You know why? He's a rookie quarterback playing in his first game in the NFL.
Right.
Throw away the preseason. Preseason doesn't count. You're playing against future DoorDash drivers. Now you're playing a real defense on the road in a tough environment. You're going to see some mistakes. I promise you, he's going to do something wrong because he's human, and he's a rookie quarterback playing in his first game. Now, whether that's a pick or a strip sack or completely overthrows his receiver, I don't know what degree that mistake could be, but I promise you, I would put my entire bank account on it.
Yeah.
That he will make a mistake on Sunday, and you're going to see it.
I know I keep harping on the Dre Greenlaw situation with the quad, but just follow me on this.
I follow you.
Cody Barton was picking off Cam Ward during preseason practices in training camp. And it seemed like Cam Ward was going through those same tendencies of making the same mistake, right? With Dre Greenlaw out, I'm not saying officially out, but he did not practice the last couple of games.
Right.
You know what? Maybe Cam Ward's okay to manipulate that and kind of, I wouldn't say go back to your old habits, but that part of the field is going to be open.
Yeah.
I mean, an experienced linebacker like that, if he doesn't play, that opens the opportunity to where Cam Ward can exploit their defense. And I'm going to keep harping on that because I see the opportunity for the Titans to take advantages of Denver's defense that's not great in some aspects. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're a good team. I'm just saying in that aspect without Greenlaw, like it's a linebacker room that's missing their voice.
Yeah, like you said, I don't want to see him go back to old habits and get comfortable throwing across the middle in the NFL because on a week-to-week basis, you're not going to have that opportunity.
Right.
That said, if it's open and you feel like you can get that in there, make it work. Do whatever you can do to move the ball because I think that's kind of what, Cam Ward needs to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Go through your progressions. Show that you are capable of getting the ball down the field. And look, you're going to see promise of that. You're going to see some mistakes being made, but that's just the name of the game for a rookie quarterback in their NFL debut. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Our text and phone lines, of course, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. One more segment to go. We'll take your final thoughts on the Titans and the Broncos as they play on Sunday, plus another game in the NFL going on tonight, streaming exclusively on YouTube. We'll talk about that coming up next. Next man up, Connor Newt, Nick Frazier, right here on 102.5 The Game. Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful song. Next man up here on 102.5 The Game, Connor Newton, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you. One final segment before we turn things over to Charles and Large Joseph. Final comments, predictions, concerns. Maybe not for us because we'll probably do it again tomorrow. But Titans and Broncos, what is the final verdict as we leave you here on the weekday?
Man, the final verdict is Titans are going to play.
Titan? Yeah, I agree.
They're going to tighten, but they're going to play well. This is going to be a tight ball game to where both teams will struggle, and Bo Nix will, I think, have a difficult time trying to, figure things out. The first couple drives are going to be those feeling out drives for both teams. There's going to be a lot of run game, I think, because that's essentially how the NFL rolls. Is there's going to be establishing the run first, and then trying to open up their playbook a little bit and pass the ball. So going into this game, I think the Titans have the upper edge at 16-13, like I mentioned before.
I just think it's going to be a tight-knit game through the first half, maybe 7-7 at halftime, 10-7, something like that. Then I think the Titans just don't play football in the second half. I think the Broncos come out and, play better in the second half. And I think they win like 24-10, 27-10, something around those lines.
Yeah, and we talked earlier in the show about L'Jarius Sneed and his physical, attributes and being, fully healthy to stamina-wise, being up there with his football shape. And I mentioned before, I think it's going to take him about 3 weeks to get into that full football shape. You make a good point about maybe the Titans' defense kind of falls off a little bit in the second half. I think if they play L'Jarius Sneed enough, I think that will happen, where there's, I wouldn't say secondary, but maybe the defense does as a whole fall off. I wouldn't say off the rails, but there'll be a slight edge to where the Titans offense has to compensate for the lack of defensive pressure or just defensive coverages, because again, some of the people on the text line say it could be a 27-24 shootout, or it could be,
I don't see it.
Yeah. Or it could be, for me, I think a stalemate to where it's 7-7 or 7-10 at half, and Titans edge out with a few field goals in the second half. Yeah. I think that's where this game might turn to be, because if Jeffrey Simmons says they're going to take away Bo Nix's first read, then that primarily would be like, yeah, they're not going to pass the ball that much. And nonetheless, they're already pressure in the middle of the offensive line, so that would mean they're taking care of the run game as well.
There is a game going on in the NFL tonight, which is streaming exclusively on YouTube. So you have free access to watch it. It'll be live. Surely it won't crash when millions of people are viewing it.
Oh,
same thing
not,
at the same time.
Let's clarify. Not YouTube TV.
YouTube.
Regular YouTube.
The actual YouTube.
Yeah.
Surely it won't crash.
But it will still also be on YouTube TV.
Oh, okay.
But exclusively, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, Chiefs and Chargers tonight, live in Arrowhead Stadium. I believe it's in Arrowhead, right?
Brazil.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So it is a form of Arrowhead and a roundabout way. It's a neutral site.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of it.
Good thing they didn't get any green teams to go out this year.
Yeah, that would have been really bad. Really, really bad.
That's what they did last year. And I was like, oh, that's great. I think this will be a fun one. The problem is with these neutral site games, especially in the NFL, the playing surfaces they play on are awful.
Thank you for bringing that up. A lot of these fields they play on are soccer fields.
Yeah.
And normally when, I don't know how to describe it, but the grass, it is very thick. And a lot of these places, when they use their little irrigation systems, they wet the grass before they play. So do a lot of professional teams in the NFL, but a lot of things are going to turf. So the natural grass, whenever you try to plant your foot, so when you play soccer, you need the long studs, like long metal studs. NFL, they don't do that. They just have a lot of spikes in their cleats, not like metal spikes, but they have spikes in their cleats, which gives you more traction. So in soccer, you have less spikes, but longer studs. Mm-hmm. And that kind of is the reason why you see a difference in play. So if I'm, the Chargers run game or the Chiefs run game, you just got to improvise with the run game a little bit. It's a little bit more direct ground and pound rather than you kind of go, stretch out the play on the line of scrimmage to where you're doing these tosses and stuff like that. You have to hit them more directly straight up.
Yeah. Was it a couple years ago, it was in Mexico City. Shakira had a concert and basically caused an earthquake and split the field right up the middle.
Yeah.
I think it was Chiefs and Rams, maybe.
Yeah. It was at the Stadio Azteca.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they had to play. I think they just went back to LA and played the game there. I can understand neutral site games in college for the most part. Do I like them? No, not really. But like you have more pageantry in that. And you know, your Duke's Mayo Classic in week 1 and the Aflac kickoff and stuff like that. And then, of course, bowl games. The NFL, I cannot get behind the European World Tour.
I mean,
this is an American sport. Let's keep this in America.
I get they're trying to grow the game a little bit, but come on now. Like
They don't care.
This game specifically, Chiefs, Chargers, come on. That's a game for home fans to be excited about.
That should be played in Arrowhead.
And I believe the Chargers are the home team, and you're going to a place like SoFi Stadium. It's hard to fill. They've had a hard time.
They don't care about the Chargers.
I know they've had a hard time getting their fan base to really buy in LA.
And they should have never moved to San Diego, first of all, or moved from San Diego.
Right.
This game should be played in Arrowhead because you would pack that place out.
Exactly.
Are we going to see Taylor Swift Brazilian World Tour?
Maybe. I mean,
how many times over under amount of times we've seen her on TV?
Oh man,
I'll set it at 12.5.
Oh, that's a good one. I was going to say 9.5. I'll go over on 12.
I think I might take the under.
I think they show her about 4 times per quarter.
And then all the Swifties will. Well, if you do the math, they only showed her for 0.8% of the actual game.
Maybe 3 times per quarter, and then she gets a halftime little bleep on the camera.
She's about to do the halftime show, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's happening. There were some Easter eggs that I've been told, listening to online podcasts, that she'll be halftime show.
As I say in wrestling, that will be a piss match for me. I will get up and use the restroom and come back in about 15 minutes.
There you go.
How was it? And then all of a sudden, oh my God, it was so good. And I'll be like, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The halftime show has just gone downhill significantly.
Yeah, it has. Give us something good. You know?
Like I can't, obviously we're going off on a deep tangent here.
That's
but
okay.
I've run out of topics for the day.
That's all right.
So
it's Friday.
Ever since Bruno Mars, it's not been the best.
Just give me somebody that's going to really move the needle.
We need a country one.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the Nashville in me, but I think like Luke Combs would light it up.
Yeah, he would. Him or Morgan Wallen. I mean, I think I asked Vince Gill this, like what he likes about modern day country, or like, does he like the transition country is taking? And this was like back during the middle of summer. He came on Chase McJoe show and he goes, I think you kind of have to do those little collaborations with hip hop and country because that makes the genre interesting, And
yeah, I mean, we've had who was it last year? It was it Usher last year?
Last year, the week.
No, it was Kendrick Lamar, and it
yeah.
sucked. And then we had Usher the year before, and then we had Rihanna the year before. That is like 3 of the same genre, in a row. Like,
you gotta mix it up.
Let's mix it up. Like, I'd like to see Morgan Wallen light it up. Morgan Wallen should do it when we host a Super Bowl here.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Imagine having a full set list of people to come out. That'd be pretty cool.
Be good. I mean, he could bring out his cast like Ernest and.
I mean, Garth Brooks would have to make a cameo, right? He'd have to make a cameo appearance.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Garth Brooks.
Yeah, that's Nashville. I mean, I'd love to see. Jelly Roll is going to show up.
Yeah. I mean,
Jelly Roll was in Paris the other day. It was him and Post Malone sitting behind the WWE commentary table.
I forgot. Yeah, he did a match with Jake Paul, right? Jelly Roll.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Look at him. He looks great. He's
lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, good for him.
He's dropped a lot of weight. Well, that'll wrap it up for us.
Yeah.
DVD will be live at Sheba Hut in Donaldson today from 3 to 6 p.m. leading up to Sheba Hut's Big Jeep Glow Party. There's going to be live music, drink specials, and more. Check out thegamenashville.com/events for more details. But as for us, Nick Frazier, it's been an honor filling in on this program. Tonight, high school football. Our Metro Nashville Public School game of the week is tonight. Before that, Parker Kelly and I will have Game Blitz coverage starting at 6. And then right after the game, we're taking you all night long scores across the mid-state. You're going to be on the sideline tonight.
Indeed.
Greg Pogue and Coach Bubba Spears on the call over in Antioch.
And also, too, if you enjoyed us today, tune in tomorrow at 9 because we'll be on as well.
Good
Weekend
point
Huddle.
by you.
Yeah.
Weekend Huddle tomorrow at 9 a.m. We'll go 9 to 11, taking you right up to college football. That'll do it for us. For Nick Frazier, for Parker Kelly, I'm Connor Newt. Chasing Big Joe coming up next on 102.5 The Game.